Hello, hello. This is the Union Tapes, episode number 22. We've jumped forward a couple of decades from the last one, and this one is with the infamous Owain Clegg of Chester. I'm sure many of you out there know this name. He's been killing it on bikes for a good couple of decades now. And we get into all his background, all the early stuff, all the usual stuff, but it's definitely an interesting path that he's had through his BMX riding life, and he's still going strong today. Following on from the last edit he just put out a couple of weeks ago, we thought it was a good time to do one with Owain. So yeah, get your ears around this. It's definitely a good one. Enjoy it.
So just give us a quick little bit of where you was born, where you was raised, and like how it was when you was a young child. Yeah.
Grew up, born and raised in Chester, where I still live. Been here my whole life, really. Just classic northern upbringing, really. You know, nothing special. You know, working class or whatever. Like just knocking about with friends on our bikes in, you know, Grange Hill style clothing. Just same old, really. Like
without the accents, yeah. So what was your first bike then?
The first bike I ever got was from a guy in high school, and it was, I didn't know what it was till years later, and it is a DP. No, it's not. It's a TRM freestyler.
Oh, okay.
I always got them mixed up.
So that was your first BMX. What was your first bike?
Oh, the first bike I ever got.
Yeah.
It was a rally. I've got a photo.
Okay.
It was a BMX, like a rally BMX with yellow pads and everything, and I've got like it looks like a sweatshop brown jumper on outside my house. I'll send you a picture.
Okay.
And
that was your first bike was a BMX?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's no other photo of me of any other bike. It's just like a rally with. It wasn't chrome with yellow pad sets and all that you obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what bike that was then. That would have been. Was that new when you bought it? So what was this, like late 80s or 90s?
No, well, I was born in 83, and there's a photo of me when I'm 4 or 5, probably tops 5 or 6, something like that.
Oh, it's probably one of them mini burners or something.
It's tiny. It's tiny. Like it had like yellowy gold rally font, and then there's a pad set on the front with bright yellow grips with, you know, the bungs at the end so your hand couldn't slip off.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean. Yeah,
I think it has stabilizers on this picture, but they're probably out of shot. So,
all right, and so that was when you was like infant school or something, yeah.
Yeah.
So
and it was new. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Okay. And then so how soon after that did the DP come into it? Like how did you go from that to the DP?
So that was when I was 5 or 6. The fact that it was a BMX just coincidence.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just like first bike, like a rally, you know, rather than a mountain bike or a road bike or anything like that, because I was a kid.
Yeah.
And then I got the TRM, sorry, when I was first year of high school. So what is it, 13, something like that?
All right.
I don't know. No, you'd be younger than that when you're 11 or 12, I think, when you start high school.
So your brother skates, right?
My brother's 10 years older than me, has always skated. So
he was skating at this point?
As young as I can remember, he was a skateboard.
Oh, that's cool.
Skateboard. There was always skateboarding around from as early as I can remember, really.
You didn't get into skateboarding at all?
I did it for about a year or 18 months before I got into BMXing. And I was terrible. I used to just I couldn't ollie and didn't have the patience to ollie, so I would just go at stuff as fast as I could, and, you know, like kind of acid drop off a drop.
Yeah.
Do a few tricks on mini ramps, body varials and rock fakies, but that was about it, really. The patience to learn to ollie was not my forte.
Yeah.
Didn't have the patience, and the fact that my brother was really good, it was going to be hard to get anywhere near him. So
what was you, like 10 years old or something at this point?
Yeah, it must have been. About 10 or 11, just before high school.
And where were the mini ramps then?
So, in my back garden. My brother's always skated, so again, so around that time when I was like 5 or 6 on the BMX, probably was when he was looking to build a ramp in the back garden. Just built it. He was 5. If I was 5 or 6, he's 10 years older than me, so he must have been 15, 16.
All right.
And he got a ramp guide out of Rad and just built it. Just built it himself. Like, I mean, he's a joiner by trade now.
Cool, man.
But, when we were 15, just built a mini ramp that I think was 8 foot wide to start with, and then he put another 4 foot on it, so it was a 12 foot wide mini ramp in the back.
How high was it?
4 maybe, with an extension in the middle. So one side was 4 foot right the way across, and then the other side had an extension to maybe 5 foot. And that was just
extension in the middle.
That was yeah. Like all the skaters of that time used to skate it. You know, like the Liverpool lot, Brian Summers and people like that, and H and those. I think they did. There was quite a strong skateboard scene in Chester, but obviously. And then BMXs and stuff like that. Like John's definitely there. There's photos of me being held up by John, you know, like
on that ramp.
On that ramp, yeah, when I'm about 7 or 8. Yeah. I had a ninja scooter. I used to ride the ramp on a ninja scooter. So there's loads of photos of me riding a ninja scooter in the background while they were skating, like, get out of the way.
So you've seen like some cool stuff already, because like you've seen like real skateboarding. Skateboarding at that point was pretty fucking cool, like for the most part, you know. Like
I remember the jeans that are now all popular again, like proper grungy, like, you know, Rage Against the Machine,
big pants,
Temple Pilots, massive wide pants, super wide boards.
Okay,
all of that. So
you were seeing it already, and then so you end up with a TRM.
Yeah, so that was so when I got into high school. So John had been around ever since I was younger, but then during that interim period of obviously having the ramp and me getting to high school, you know, got into all kinds like skateboarding, collecting comics and everything in between. And then I remember seeing, I think the first instance that really like got it going again was when I was skating. I went to a Waverton Fate.
Okay.
Yeah. And John did a demo for this guy. Eddie Wally built a takeoff and a landing, obviously to John's specifications, made out of steel. And every year he did like a demonstration at this Waverton Fate as like a spectacle, really. So the one year that I went, John had, it was over a fence. So you had a lip takeoff and landing over a fence.
Oh, okay.
Whole GT air show routine.
All right.
360 tail whip, ended with the crowd pleaser, the big backflip over this big gap.
Okay, so what was that, like 94 or something, I guess? 95, 94?
No, later than that.
Later, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. I didn't start riding properly till 96.
I thought that's when he rode for GT. Might have been 96 or 97 then, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, it was coming to an end. It was just before, so that was like the final years of John being on GT, but obviously we just went there by chance, like knew that, well, not by chance, we must have known that it was on, but we didn't know John to say, John ring us up and say, all right, I'm doing this demonstration. We just went to Waverton Fate to see this demonstration, really. So it was the same one in exactly the same area. Do you remember in Invert where they're doing like lake jumping?
Yeah, Cow Jam.
Exactly.
That was Cow Jam, I think. Yeah.
So I remember when I was a kid seeing John and probably whoever it was at the time trying to jump the canal, like for one second off a kicker. Like I was a kid there watching that. So it was in exactly the same location in Waverton.
Yeah.
Where they had the half pipe that Eddie Wally built and sold in Invert, and then they had a metal spine ramp that was in a field as well. Like this guy just made.
I went to the spine ramp. Yeah, I went and rode there a couple of times. Like, it was dangerous.
Yeah, because it had metal sides, so the skateboards didn't fly off. But
that's it. Yeah, it had metal surface and metal side. So if you sketched out, you got bucked off the side. Like
it was death. It was death.
Yeah, that was fucking dangerous, man.
Later on, we did a demo on that ramp on a carnival. It was towed along, and we did a demo on it while it's moving.
What, on the back of a truck?
On the back of that mini ramp, that spine ramp.
Oh, it was on a truck?
Yeah. Just hooked on and towed through Chester Town Centre while we just jumped the spine.
With the side still on it?
Yeah, exactly as it was.
Oh, man.
That's why I ended up in the Boneyard. That was one of the first ramps that was in the Boneyard. He just towed it inside and left it there.
That thing was deadly, man.
It was bomb-proof, that ramp.
Yeah, I bet it was, yeah.
Massively over-engineered, but like most of the stuff he did, it would just last forever.
Oh, man. So how did you acquire the TRM, though? Because that frame was like a really rare English freestyle frame. Like,
see, I knew nothing of this. So when I was at high school, there was just a really, I don't know how the conversation must have even come about. I wanted a BMX. There was a really rough Scally that was in my year, and he said, "Oh, I've got bikes for sale." So he lived round the corner from my high school. Went to his house, and there was just a garage full of bikes, like
all bikes,
all bikes.
Yeah,
you know, his mum was just like effing and blinding out the window, and he's like, he wheeled out this one, and I can't even remember what I paid for it, but it was that TRM frame with all other parts. They weren't the rest of the bike was not TRM. It was just anything. So someone had obviously built it up, and then he'd ended up with it. But it wasn't until years later that I realised how obscure that frame was.
Yeah, they only sold us frame and forks. I don't think they made any other product.
Yeah, I found out years later when I sold that frame to Jed in Newark.
Oh, so okay, yeah.
Got it now, and he's made forks for it and everything. I'll send you the pictures. He's done it as it was, but it was chrome. So from what I understand, that was even rarer. Like they used to be coloured, but it was a chrome TRM.
I think I only ever saw one. Yeah, and it was just chrome. The one I saw.
Well, I got it out of a Scally lad's garage in Chester. So
and that was it. So. What wheels did you had on that? Like plastic wheels or something? Or
it had a front mag and a rear spoked back wheel, which I've no idea what they were. They were nothing special.
Yeah,
and the rest
and then you was off though. Then that sent you on the journey, right? What did you discover from there? Like the magazines?
It would have been a little while. We were just like your classic, going to the local, what do you call it? Just jumping off pallets, down to Asda or whatever, and just making pallet jumps. Used to be a golf depot that had loads of pallets outside. There's a photo of me just jumping off a load of pallets on this TRM when I first got it, and that was it basically. Just potting around.
Did you have a crew of people to ride with back then, or?
So there was a few of us in high school. Yeah, there wasn't many. There was probably like 4 or 5 of us, like called Jordan and Wes and Paddy that slowly just got into it. I think they must have. I don't know if they went to that same demo with me or not. I can't remember.
Well, it was coming up, wasn't it? At that point in time, like BMX was like climbing, and it was just coming up. If you're talking about 96, 97, it was just on the way back to itself. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, because obviously there was more and more magazines at WH Smith's and stuff like that you could pick up around that time.
And what can you remember your first mag?
I was thinking about it the other day. I think it was either BMX Grind or one of the early rides, like Ride 26, 27, something like that.
Who had the cover? Can you remember that?
Guy doing a Superman, like green Superman. I don't know if it was at Slade's Farm or something like that. It definitely had Slade's Farm.
Okay, yeah, all right. Yeah, I know the one. Yeah, the white edge. Yeah, on the grass. Yeah,
being here somewhere.
Yeah,
but BMX Grind. Like, I'm surprised I stuck with it after that. Wasn't the greatest introduction, was it?
No, that was pretty cool.
It had Brian Foster on the front. That was probably the only saving grace.
I think Brian Foster shared the cover with Grot Bags and someone else actually.
Right. Okay.
It was like 3 people on the cover.
Right. I just remember Brian Foster. When I looked at it a while back, it had Brian Foster on. I thought,
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Saving grace.
And can you remember, like, videos were quite popular at that point in time? They were just making sort of that was the new media at that bit.
Well, the thing I remember about videos was obviously we got some at that time. The main one that I had and was always in my house was a burned copy of Head First.
Oh, okay.
That was in my house from since my brother probably had H Street Video and then Head First on after that, and we wore that video out to death. That was even before we got into riding. Like, it was just a video that you would just put on, had everything, like. That's
mind blowing as well, isn't it? Like even now you look at that and you're like, fucking unreal, man. Yeah.
All of it. all of it on that video. Like as much as obviously Hoffman's, steals the limelight. Like there's loads of stuff on there, like the street stuff.
Yeah.
Brad Blanchard, Roman, all of them.
Trying to think of the year that was. I was like 91 or 92 as well, so it was fucking early.
Yeah, it was just it wasn't the original. It was just a copied VHS.
Nice.
Everything,
so you knew there was
everything.
You knew there was good shit to be fucking done. Like, if you've seen that video, you know straight away. Yeah.
I remember that being like as soon as I remember seeing that video when I was younger, and then when we got into BMXing, we just watched that on repeat really. And then the early videos we probably got, I remember Thunder was massive.
Okay.
Thunder had a really good vibe. Soil. We had Soil.
Yeah.
And then I think the first props I ever saw was props 13. There was a lad in high school that robbed it from the local bike shop and borrowed it.
All right.
Yeah, that was the first one. Not condoning theft.
Can you remember who was in that?
It had those those competitions that always used to run was like Padre Island or whatever. It wasn't a BS comp. It was when it was slowly turning into ESPN.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of them. And I remember distinctly like Miron doing like a massive transfer, like an alley bar spin transfer or something like that. Like, and Winkelman doing transfers. Like that was what stood out to me. I can't remember who the interviews were on that one.
Issue 13. I'm going to have a look for that. Yeah, I think find out what one it is.
I haven't got it anymore. I've sold that to someone.
What about what was the first UK video that you saw?
Last Resort.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, Last Resort.
That was a good one.
That was obviously around. Yeah, that was the crew of people around the time. The first comp I went to had Ian and Fids and all them were there, so I think we obviously twigged, put two and two together.
Two and two together, yeah.
Yeah. The first Rampworks comp we went to, they were there.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know that. I wasn't there, but I remember the coverage in the mags and that. It was pretty cool, wasn't it? It was when Rampworks was at the old smaller place, right?
Yeah.
Place.
It was good in there, and Ian had the Welsh flag seat. Fids had the
the Union Jack. Yeah.
I bought that seat because Fids had that on.
Oh.
Even though I've got a really Welsh name, I was born in England.
Oh, excellent.
That was a good comp, that was. Remember, that was like one of the first times we got the train, and we all got the train and went somewhere.
Oh, you went lonesome, yeah? Like with the crew, just not with your parents?
Yeah, I met up with like 3 or 4 people at the train station that still ride now, like Ango, who was like a Spittle local, Neil Williams, G. You remember G?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember Neil as well, yeah.
Yeah, all them. They were at the train station, just met up with them and never been there before, and they took us, so. Yeah,
amazing.
Cool. That was a great day. Like, obviously, all the locals, and then you had things like, I remember on that day there was like Mark Thieker. Do you remember him?
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
Local hooker, and then
that's it.
I tell you who else rode that day.
Is it someone called Richie? What was his name?
Yeah, Richie was like massive inspiration to us when we around that time, because he wasn't a pro, but we saw him and he could do everything that you could see.
He was real good. Yeah, I remember the pictures.
Really good. Yeah, Richie Petman, his name is.
Oh, okay.
So,
all them kids were good, weren't they? Like all the kids that you mentioned.
Richie was like the standout, and he had like classic STA and 4-piece bars, standard 4-piece bars, and 1-footed X-ups, bar spins, transfers. You can do it all.
Yeah.
Tell you what else was there as well. Like Dave Flemdog, Tony Fleming.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Random, like him riding a street contest, but yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
that first skate park was really good.
Yeah. Well, that didn't last long though, right? They moved into the big one quite soon after.
Yeah. Couple of years, yeah. I don't know.
Was it? Yeah. I never went to that, so I assumed it wasn't that. Or did I? I might have actually. I might have went once. Yeah.
Bright red floor, like it was one of those classic floors where they painted it to look good, but if it was even remotely like wet or condensation, it was a death trap.
I think I went on a 70s tour once to that place. Yeah.
Yeah, you would have done. Yeah, but yeah, that was a really good comp there. There was, Ian, Fids, all
Boyley.
Boyley was, Boyley Go-Go. There was a really good lad as well coming up called Gizzy, who was from round our way. He was really good. That was Richie. And G rode that. Yeah, that was a good skate park, that.
So,
got a story about that. My dad took me there.
Go on, sorry.
My dad took me there once to that skate park, and was meant to go to work. My dad worked in Liverpool at the time. So he give us a lift there, and went to leave, and his car wouldn't start. So couldn't work out what it was. Called the RAC out. Turns out under the seat was an immobilizer switch, and I'd stuffed my ride magazine. Turned off the engine. 2.5 hours late for work. This guy literally switch on your way. That was different.
Oh, excellent. And that was like, I suppose, if that's your first contest and your first that's a new world has opened, right?
That was
because you've seen into like a whole new thing here, yeah.
Yeah, because we'd gone to local skate parks, but you hadn't seen all those people who were in the magazines. Like I just said, I had BMX Grind. Ian was in that. Fids was in that. All of a sudden, like going off at the skate park that not far from your house that you'd never been to. It was just like
reachable.
Right, let's go. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
You know, like where else can we go and bump into these people and do all this stuff?
And what about Chester, the old Chester skate park? Was that a point in time where you was going there, or was that before?
So around the time, ever since like I said, when I was younger, I remember going to Chester skate park. The first one, the concrete one it was already demolished. Like I went there on a ninja scooter with my brothers, you know.
Oh, okay.
I remember going past the football stadium. You used to have to go in between the football stadium and like a car lot, and it was at the very end, and it was demolished then. The distinct things I remember, one, it was rubble, and two, there was a half pipe with no deck. They were like the two memories that I had.
Yeah, I went there and it was half demolished, probably the same as what you saw it. Like stuff was pushed into the bowls and there was like just loads of rubble, but 2 bits I think were rideable, and that was it.
But I've got 2 brothers. So the one brother that skates is 10 years older than me. My other brother is 18 years older than me. So he remembers it was like a membership, you know, you could pay 20 quid. He remembers it being built and finished, and you were paid to be a member, and it was done. So, I mean, that was, you know, obviously it had been left, you know, demolished for a long time before even my older brother got to it. But yeah, he remembers it was called Inner City Truckers, it was called.
Okay.
And like, yeah.
That's a crazy story, because like that must have lasted 2 years, if that, you know.
If that.
Someone built all that stuff and it's gone in 2 years. Like,
it was big.
Yeah.
From what I remember, I mean, even when I look back on photos now, it was big. Like it would be iconic now if it was still there, you know, along the same lines of like Stevenage or...
Yeah, that's it. That's what I'd say. It was like Stevenage,
It's like that. I don't know, obviously there was rubble in there, you know, I don't know if it was like good transitions or whatnot, but...
Yeah.
I found there was actually another skate park in Chester as well as that one, but I've never seen photos of it finished. I've got a photo of them building it, and you can see the shapes where there's a bulldozer, like all bowls and moguls, but I never saw it finished. And that was like the other side of Chester.
I wonder if they finished it.
I've never seen pictures of it. I did once go to the Chester archive office and see if they had photos, you know, where you can like search and go through like newspapers, but nothing came up.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Do you know what year it was?
Which, the other one?
Yeah.
No.
I was wondering if they were building that and then skateboarding had just folded, you know, like...
Must have been.
Pulled the plug, maybe.
There's a few Facebook groups where I've like... There's quite a lot on that Inner City Truckers one, but nothing on the other one. This picture just popped up, and I know exactly where it is, because there's like... Chester's main leisure centre is in the background. There's like a 60s building. You can see it in the background. So I've been there and took, you know, like a photo of like from the same angle of what it looks like. And the leisure centre's still there, but I never saw a picture of this other one finished. Again, it was massive.
Oh, man. Sucks.
I think, like you said, the skateboard dying during that time, they probably didn't.
It fell off a cliff, like literally just was like done overnight. Yeah, it's weird.
So maybe they were late. Maybe they were late coming onto it, so it was later of the builds, because obviously, you know, others must have built in the boom and survived it, whereas this probably wasn't even finished if it was on the tail end of the demise.
So when you went to that Liverpool contest, did you go on the TRM or did you have another bike?
It's a good question.
I assume you'd have had something else by then.
TRM. I don't know. Well, from the TRM, I got well into it and the bike was wrecked. So I saved up, and my mum got me a GT Performer. It wasn't a Pro Performer. I remember getting the catalogue, and it was like Performer was it Pro Perform and then Pro Freestyle Team? That was like the hierarchy.
Yeah.
I think it was a Pro Performer, all chrome, everything. Had those god awful GT Pac-Man forks where you had to put.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the pegs. Yeah.
But for me, that was everything, because all I'd done with the TRM was probably like you do. I had some grips, I had a tyre or whatnot.
Oh, and where was you getting parts at this time? You had a local shop.
So yeah, the GT didn't come from a local shop. The GT came from me subtly circling an advert in Ride and just
okay.
This is where you could get this from. And then, but yeah, there was a local bike shop called Dave Miller Cycles that was always been mountain bike led, but had a few things in. They had a few issues of props, and they were a GT dealer and a Harrow dealer, just the mainstream ones.
Yeah.
Really never got any like core parts in. But other than that, there was a shop in Old Sage near Crewe, and I remember getting the train there. To go and buy a UFO gyro fishbone. 50-mile round trip for that. I wouldn't drive 1 mile to go and get a UFO gyro now, but yeah, 50 miles to Old Stage. Sideways Cycles, it was called. They used to advertise in Ride.
I remember the adverts in Ride. Yeah,
that
totally.
Was like the closest shop, but they had more stuff. They had more brands.
Oh, okay.
And I was stupidly drawn to UFO.
Yeah. Well, that's what was done. I mean, one of the things that was happening at that point in time anyway, so understandable,
I didn't get the handlebars, so I do have some self-respect left.
Yeah, good. So then where do you go from there? Like you ride in ramp works occasionally, and then like you're on a GT, and then you're sort of finding the shops and you're finding the scene, and you've got like a local crew that's riding with you, I assume. And then like, so what's the next stage like of, because you seem to learn. I mean, I met you probably when you was 15 or something, but you was already pretty good when I met you.
But you probably met me at the Boneyard. The Boneyard.
Yeah. You seem to get like, you was already good, and you was really like, you was still a young kid to us, Yeah,
the Boneyard would have been the next step.
Okay.
So around within 6 months of that Rampworks comp, I think, or within a year, the first incarnation of the Boneyard was built. So it wasn't always in the building it was in now. Literally, like across the yard was another building, and that was the first space that the Boneyard was in. The ramps were built by parents, and so it was a roller hockey. Roller hockey was massive then. So
all right.
So there was a family that lived just next to the skate park, and they'd obviously needed somewhere to practice roller hockey. So they'd marked out a course for roller hockey with rollerblades being on the up. And on the back of that, there was another parent, Carol, her name was, Carol Delzanis, that started the skate park. She, her son was into rollerblading, so they built some ramps. But they were literally, like a fly-off ramp that you could push to one corner. And then they built like an 8-foot quarter pipe that was god awful, like humongous coping at the top that was like it had no. The deck was just laid on, so if you popped out, you slid on the deck, like it wasn't screwed down.
So they just didn't know what they were doing. They were best intentions, but didn't know what they were doing.
And there was no lights. The lights were security lights, so every 30 seconds you had to go and like wave your hands in front of it. Like you've got your house.
Yeah.
I remember John doing a demo there, and it was freezing cold in this warehouse, and this guy that used to work for the estate thought it was a good idea to start a load of fires in like fire bins, to get heat in the room.
All right, yeah.
Turned it into smoke, just smoke bellowing. I remember John doing a flare in this like smoke-filled room on the GT. Wow. Yeah, just this sketchy quarter, but obviously John could do like all the GT air show tricks. So he had flares, flips on lock on the world's worst quarter pipe.
And so was you hanging with John at this point in time? Was he still too young?
Still too young. He was on the tail end of the GT air show, so obviously we would bump into him. And obviously my brother skated, so he knew about the skate park in Tattenhall, and we were of an age where we could go there ourselves. So although my brother skated with his group of 10-year-old friends now, we went as our own group, so we went there all the time, really.
So he was just like the local star, really.
And he would just come and go as he was back from the GT air show, because his mum and dad lived in Clotton, which was like 4 or 5 miles away.
And how far was Boneyard from where you was in Chester?
8 miles.
So did you used to ride that?
All the time.
Yeah.
Like literally all the time. We would just ride there and then either try and get a lift back by anyone that had a car that was going back, or even the lad that worked there, Chris, you'll probably remember him. He used to have like one of those lights on, you know, like a rock climber's light, and we just follow him. He would pedal home and he would be the only one with a light, and we'd just ride back. Because
it was all like country lanes and stuff up until a certain point, right?
Sketchy, yes, no lights, you know, just like we did that a lot. But we did get a lift, you know, not claiming we rode there all day.
Yeah.
Like we got a lift. We would ride there. I'll tell you what else we used to do as well, which was obscure back then. There was the post bus. So that used to drop, it would leave Chester, you could get on it with your bike, and then it would drop postmen off. So it would drop a postman off in Waverton, it would drop a postman off in the next village. So you could just get in with all these postmen. And
how'd you wangle that? How did that come about, though? Was that just locals knew about it, or what was the story?
Yeah. I didn't think about it till recently, but yeah, it was a post bus. So basically it would leave Chester, and as opposed to now where every postman's got a van and, you know, goes door to door with a van, they just had this post bus that would literally go the same route you needed to go to the Boneyard, but it would drop postmen off. And then when you got to Saturn, you'd get out. But that was the only way you could get your BMX in it. They would take your BMX, like, no problem. It was weird.
That's fucking great, man.
Yeah, just from Chester City Centre, and then it would go first thing in the morning, obviously for the postman to do their round, so you could do that, and then you'd get a lift back or you'd ride back. So yeah, that happened a lot. Good. I don't know how that even came about. Like,
that's fucking weird as fuck. Yeah,
you couldn't do that now, could you?
No, there's no way that would be happening now. They'd be like, fucking bus, get the fuck out of here. Yeah.
Well, that and just loads of kids piling in with like 10.
Yeah. No chance. No way, man. Yeah.
No, weird.
So, and it was like this around the time that you went to the US.
Trying to think when I went to America. Went to America fairly quickly. So obviously, when I got the bug with riding, it was.
But like when you went to McGill's ramp and like.
Oh no, that was when I was younger. So like I said, when I was. Yeah.
Go on, sorry.
I was on a Ninja scooter. Like there's a.
Okay, so that was early, yeah.
I bought the Ninja scooter maybe in America.
All right.
So my mum was single mum, so she used to save up and took my brother and me to America. So once a year, for some reason, we chose America. My brother's into skating, so we went to McGill's and we went to skate shops and all that in California, like early. I must have been about 8 or 9, if that.
Yeah. Wow, that was
we went
awesome.
It was, because my brother was fully into it, so it wasn't like we went there just trying to find a skateboard shop. He knew where they all were. He knew he wanted to go to Mike McGill's skate park. He knew he wanted to go to, I don't know, Venice Beach or wherever. He knew where skateboard shops and skate parks.
That's pretty fucking cool, that, isn't it?
Oh, it's awesome. There's photos of me at Mike McGill's skate park, like when I'm well young, in the background, and watching all these skaters, which obviously I didn't know who they were at the time, but obviously now legendary characters in skateboarding. So,
can you remember who was skating there when you were there?
Mike McGill was there, but other than that, you'd have to ask me. My brother would know. I have no idea.
Yeah.
It wouldn't mean anything to me at the time. I was just probably messing about in the dirt, like I wasn't.
Yeah. And that was so. There was a different year that you went back to the US, to the East Coast.
When I fully got the bug of riding. So, like you said, in '96, when I started getting into it, within that small window of a year or 2 years, I was like massively into it. You know, just every day going to the Boneyard or going out with that crew of riders I said earlier. So yeah, when my brother was probably old enough by that stage to not need to go with us. So I was just probably Woodward was probably on it, although it had always been there. I think that was a time when it was really
on the up. Yeah.
So I remember requesting a brochure from America and it turning up when you get the brochure to go, and everybody's in it. You know, Dave Mirror, Jay Miron, Hoffman's on it.
Joe
Taj, all of them.
Lucky, like the top stars,
all those people that you think of synonymous with it at that era were in this brochure, and then you obviously seeing them in the magazines whenever you could get them from America and in the UK. It was just a no-brainer, but obviously it involved saving. But my mum had already done that, So we used to did a paper round for a year, whatever, saving up. You know, I like to think that year's paper round probably paid for it. Probably didn't. My mum probably.
Yeah. That's a top tier mum, that is, mate. And she took you on your own to Woodward.
Yeah, we went the first time we went to New York, and then we were there for a week, I think, before we went to Woodward. So she never drove. My mum never drove, so she didn't have a hire car. We just went to New York and then went to New Jersey and to a two-hip contest on the bus.
Yeah.
Went to that and saw like that was like in the same way as the Rampworks comp. That was like an American eye opener.
Yeah.
So like you had young Van Homan, Garrett Burns. The standouts on that day there's a guy. Do you remember Dave Littleman that used to ride for two hip? He was.
I remember the name. Yeah, George Hornig as well. Was he there?
No.
Okay, I remember that name. Yeah.
Cameron Birdwell, Superman.
Yeah.
Like him and that Dave Littleman rode for two hip, and they were just going nuts. But yeah, there was all kinds of people there. Ralph Sinisi, met Dell now. Like,
okay.
I say met them. I'm in the corner, like.
You saw them. Yeah.
Just keeping myself like Ron Wilkerson and all that. Like,
yeah.
I didn't. Again, I knew what two hip was from the magazines, but I didn't know how iconic like Ron Wilkerson was.
Yeah.
And that was at that Tom's River skate park that is in a lot of like the Little Devil movies.
Yeah, that's it. It had the feature in US Ride of that contest, didn't it?
There's a photo of Van Omen doing a 100 tape.
Yeah, that's it.
I swear that's me in the background on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
That's me. So, got that and then got the bus. But I had to give my mum a Peggy back to the bus station because we were running late. So.
And what was just you and your mum, or was there someone else?
Just me and my mum.
Wow, amazing. That's proper, isn't it?
We went Brooklyn Banks and all that. Like there's photos of me at Brooklyn Banks, and remember trying to find BMX shops in New York, and there wasn't many. There was one in Harlem that we rang, and they said you're probably best not coming up here. Get a taxi, but don't rock up on the train. Wow. And then there was one downtown that, again, similar to the shop we had in Chester. Like he did some BMX stuff. So I remember buying a lot. You knew on holiday, so you know, like
pushing the boat out.
Yeah, and then made our way to Woodward. So the first time we had friends in New York. My brother had friends, so I think they drove us. We first of all went to Harrisburg, which isn't far from where Woodward is in Pennsylvania. Stayed with their parents, and then my mum dropped me off, and then went back to New York for a week. And came back and got me.
And how was the Woodward experience then? It was good,
mega.
right?
Yeah, mega. Just being in those cabins and getting to ride like all those massive skate parks, like Lot 8 and the outdoor one that was at it was the first incarnation before Skate Light was there, and they had it like the blue ramps outside, like that, and that indoor mini ramp that Miron and Castillo and everyone used to ride. Do you remember the one? It was like
I remember. Yeah.
All of them just rode them, and that was mega. Like my counsellors were over the years I went there. I had Ryan Corrigan, Shad Johnson, and Ralph Sinisi.
Oh, amazing!
So,
how often did you see Woodward on video before you went? Like a few times, right?
Trying to think where I would have seen it.
Well, it's been props. It was really props, like featured on props every year. So it must have been props. Maybe Baco or something.
Earlier than those like 20, earlier than like the iconic like props 27 one where Taj and Ruben's in it, and it was before that.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you what it would have been on. Like absolute like video that I love to this day. It would American Muscle. It was
right, yeah. Okay.
I used to watch that religiously. Because it was a Schwinn video, those shops that I mentioned earlier that did GT and Howard, they did Schwinn.
All right.
So that's how we probably had more chance of getting American Muscle because they would sell a Schwinn mountain bike or whatever than we would getting a props or soil or something like that.
Yeah, of course.
American Muscle, that's definitely where we saw Woodward.
So when you went to Woodward, did you see some of them obstacles and think like, fuck, this is way bigger than what it looks on video?
I think everything feels like way bigger than it does on video.
When I went in 2000 or 99, And I remember going and looking at them riding on video, like amazing fucking people riding. And I remember getting there thinking like, oh yeah, I'll be able to do this and this and this. And then you get there and you're like, whoa, that's fucking right over there. And that's like over there. And this is, and I remember just being like, oh, this is fucking just a different world to what I thought it was. Yeah. I'm just wondering if as a kid, like getting there, just being like, what the fuck am I in here? Yeah.
I remember every time I ever looked at a vert ramp being like, these are monstrous. Like, you know, when you're trying to learn to drop in on a 4-foot quarter, you would see a vert ramp and it would be one of them where you'd like, go and look over the edge. Like,
scared to look over the edge. Yeah,
terrified to look over the edge, let alone drop in on it. There was definitely that, and just loads of stuff that was in American Muscle. Like there was a hip into. Do you remember that bowl they always used to ride with? Like,
I rode that. Yeah, the kidney. Yeah,
enormous.
Yeah,
it must have been 7 or 8 foot, and I think we were on 270s into this like skinny landing.
Yeah, I know the one. Yeah.
That section of Mirons is just fucking top tier.
That's unreal, man.
Yeah, that's one of the best sections ever made, if not the.
So did you get a bike, a frame out there, or did you get like you had a standard right at one point? This is early on. I remember that when I saw you at Boneyard. Let me just give you the info. I thought this was on a video, but I don't know if it. I thought I filmed it, but maybe I didn't.
On your video?
Is it on mine? Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was, but then I couldn't. And then I thought, I don't remember it being on there. So. You did bar spin to feeble grind, yeah?
Yeah, it's on your video.
What is that? Nails in a coffin?
First one, yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool, man. I'm glad I put it on there.
On that, like.
That was your first video clip?
I don't know if it was the first video clip, but I remember distinctively being stoked on it. Like, it could have been.
I'd say it was from what you're saying, but like, I remember you going and you being like quite a friendly young kid and like you was into it and you had all the pads and you had all the stuff.
Yeah, definitely had all the pads.
White STA, yeah, and then like we was just like milling about, just riding as we usually would, and then suddenly you went back over that driveway, bar spin, landing feeble, and it was like, holy shit! That's like the latest moves just got done by the youngest kid in the skate park, and I just distinctly remember being. Did I ask you to do that again, or did I just catch that by chance?
I don't know. I probably would have done it again. Yeah, I remember being like pads, like you were saying earlier, like.
But everyone had pads then, really. So, but it was just fucking cool shit, you know?
14-year-olds have humongous, like, Pro-Tech knee pads and elbow pads that were bigger than my head. It's just like, when I look back at it now, I was like, how did they even move?
Well, it was working, wasn't it? It was fucking... That was the hot trick of the day, and it was done by the small kids. So, yeah, it's fucking cool,
as well. I learned them the wrong way.
What, to spin the bars the wrong way?
Yeah, so, like, I did it into the spin. Like, years later to, like, learn it the other way. Like, John should have told me earlier on. I should have been called out earlier. But yeah, that STA frame was a bit later. So I had the GT when I went to Woodward. And then after that, I got Sabbath. I bought a Sabbath frame. And that was when, that must have been around the same time. So the GT was around the Rampworks comp time because I had a Sabbath with that United Union Jack seat on it.
Oh, okay.
And parts of the GT on the Sabbath. And then after that, the STA came about. I got hooked up with a local shop where it was, if you could buy it for cost. I bought it for cost. I bought the STA to Scoop or Custom Riders. I think that was who was bringing it in. And they got me the white STA.
Nice.
I got that because of the Wakefield lot. Everyone at Wakefield.
Yeah, that's right.
They all rode STAs.
Yeah. So you'd been to Wakefield a few times at this point, yeah?
Yeah. So the first time we went to Wakefield, there was a coach trip from the Boneyard. To go to another skate park, there wasn't many. We got a coach trip from the Boneyard and we all went to Wakefield for the day. That was the first time I ever went there. And that was like, because Wakefield was a big skate park. It had a vert ramp, it had a driveway, it had a grind box, it had a vert wall, it had everything. So, so we used to go there as often as we could, but that we didn't get the train there. That would involve getting a lift. So we were just back to my dad or whoever to take us there.
You meant like the older guys that rode there at the time, right? So
yeah, they were like the first time I met all of those people who I'm still friends with now, really.
Who's that? Wolfman, Craig,
Kev.
Martin.
Yeah, don't see Martin as much. I see Craig. my son did work experience with Craig, with Kev last year. Went to Craig's 50th. Wolfman.
John.
My best friend.
I mean,
John.
you already knew John, but like Bestwick went there a little bit as well, I think, right?
Yeah, I remember seeing Bestwick on the vert ramp, like I was saying to you earlier about looking over the court, like looking over the deck of a court, like him, he was there riding. He was pretty much, him and John were like the only ones riding the vert, and I was just blown away by it. That was when the vert ramp was in its own room before they opened it up. And then they had, the first time I went there, it didn't have that, what do they call it, white man's rhythm. It didn't have that rhythm section in it, just had a spine.
All right.
That was the first spine I ever jumped it to flat, cleared it all.
That's the way everyone does it, man.
I had a dyno.
So was the spine in the right-hand corner, or where was that?
It was next to the jump box. So there was the flat jump box, and then it went in.
Oh, it's a freestanding spine.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. Where the second rhythm probably went.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hit it as fast as I could. There was no one to show you how to do a spine. I just pedaled as fast as I could and landed on the floor. I had a dyno. A dyno full face, and I landed on my neck on my handlebars. I was like winded halfway down the M62 driving back. Cleared it. Just shot past all of it. Well, that place was amazing.
So did you get after your first trip to Woodward? Like, had you progressed a lot in that first trip, or was it the one after that you progressed a lot in?
Probably the one after and the one.
Okay.
I went 3 times, so
all right.
After that, I was thinking about this the other day. I think that was when. Now, the first time I went, there was no one there. The second time I went, John Hall was there, who I knew from Manchester just by chance. We just obviously booked the same week.
Oh, he was at Woodward as well.
Yeah. There's a photo of me, John Hall, Ryan Corrigan, Afro Pat. All of us there. And then the year after that, Ali had got into riding, so obviously that was further down the line. But that second year and the third year, there was a trajectory of getting better. I remember Shad taught me fast plants. That's how I learned fast plants.
Oh, okay.
So good teacher.
Yeah. So, Ali, you met Ali at Woodward, or you met Ali in the UK? Yeah.
Ali used to come to the Boneyard on rollerblades.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember this story. Yeah.
Yeah. He used to give him help. You all gave him help.
Yeah.
Rightly so. Yeah. So he
deserved.
Hey, yeah.
Deserved it.
The bullying worked. He soon just started. But yeah, he did everything. He had a mountain bike. He did a motorbike. You know, he's just one of them.
Yeah.
Like, he, every night was something.
Yeah,
different.
You can do it. Yeah. And then, so then, I bet he learned quick on a BMX then, right?
Yeah, because he'd had a background in motocross and mountain bikes, and he was quite. Whereas I was like scrawny and malnourished looking, he was of a fair. Tall. His dad's really tall, so like he could throw the bike around really easily. But yeah, he had like bright neon motocross helmet and stuff like that. But like in no time at all, he got really good. Like he started off on a round burner, destroyed that, and then as he got better with bikes, he just got quick. He got good really quick.
Yeah, I remember he came out of nowhere. Really,
like obviously where I probably had 2.5 years of BMXing, he probably did a year and a bit, and was just like And
what you went to Woodward the third time with him?
With him, and a friend from school as well that had got into riding. So there was 3 of us there. And again, he loved it. We all loved it, but like he was like I think he's a year or 2 years older than me. So he was like a year, 2 years older than me. So he was getting to the stage where he was going to finish school. Like he loved it there. You could just like he was just getting really good. And that was around the time he went and did that stunt show. Yeah,
that's right. I saw one. Yeah, I didn't know it was him.
Yeah, the one that's in the video.
Yeah. And what was that like? Like being at Woodward as a camper. Like, how strict was it?
It was pretty strict, but I wasn't naughty. I'd toe the line anyway. It was just like live and breathe BMXing.
Yeah.
It was. I would say it was pretty strict. At night times and all that with curfews. And whatnot, but I was literally just there to ride. That's all. Like lived and breathed, so it didn't really.
You had your head down anyway, so it didn't matter. Yeah.
And like literally from morning to night would just be like riding all day on one pack of sticks.
Who was there riding from the US guys that year? Like, can you remember watching people from the US ride there?
Yeah, there was all of them. I've got a hat here, you know. Yeah. Got a hat with all the signatures on. So
Fucking
we got
cool, man.
Yeah, I've kept it like Joe Rich, Dave Frymer, Dave Mirror, Wessel, Kenan Harkin, Mike Ardeline, Hollywood. Do you remember him? He killed it.
Hollywood. Was he a trail guy?
No, like tech. Like he still rides now, like Midwest, but he could do everything. Then he was like,
I don't remember it. Yeah.
No, he wasn't a name you knew, but like when you saw him ride there, he warranted his name on the hat.
Yeah.
You know, what I'm saying, those people.
So that was an eye opener again, like seeing those guys in what's this, 97 or 98?
Yeah, 97 says on it. So yeah.
Oh, cool, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were killing it. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely killing it. And I was into it hook, line, and sinker. Like I bought oversized jeans from Kenan Harkin and those Dave Mirror Adidas trainers that were like 4 sizes too big for me. Just they must have seen me coming. I was just buying anything off them. I had a David Sarto basic T-shirt. It was like humongous. I just bought it anyway. Yeah, all of it. But yeah, seeing all them was just unreal. Like, so they basically rode as the pros, and then we would go back to the cabin with people that were staying there in the summer, like Corrigan and those people that are obviously staying and working. So yeah, I mean, all those people that were there then, just iconic people, you know, right through, you know, that are just like in it lifers, you know, Shad.
Yeah, from that era, yeah.
Yeah, Corrigan, like all of them, just like the best, really, and really thankful that they were the people that showed you the way to do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It could have been someone awful and you went off on a tangent of doing stuff terribly, but it wasn't going to wash for them lot. So,
how early do you think that you knew that BMX was going to be long term for you? Because it seems quite early that you knew, like, this is what I want to do.
Well, you got to imagine from seeing John do that demonstration where he literally, like, at that time, so say that Rampworks comp, you saw some mad stuff or transfers or whatnot.
Yeah.
I in a demo where John had done bar spin, 360, tail whip, backflip, like in a 20-minute show. So you were like, whoa, like they're for the big tricks. There's no reason why, you know, I'd seen the big tricks firsthand pretty early on. So it was like something to aspire to. Not that they were the tricks, but like he was so dialed then that you were just like, oh, it'd be great to get to.
And so it's from there, like you just like, I've got to do this.
And then when we saw him ride, like with us, or we went to, it would have been, so when we saw him ride outside of those 4 tricks, he could do everything. You know, he could do 540 nose picks, he could do everything like that. And that lip tricks was definitely something I was drawn to quite early on. Like, always loved lip tricks.
Yeah.
Like, they
were strong at that point. They was really strong, weren't they? Lip tricks. They was good, and they were still a focal point. Whereas, like in more recent times, they've kind of dwindled a bit, and now they seem to be coming back a little bit. But yeah,
well, you got highlighted. Joe Rich did the Fufu on the cafe. That was like the next step up. Like rather than on the, it was like onto a sub box. So it was like the next wave of like, oh, someone's done it on a back rail.
Yeah,
but definitely. I mean, that was something I was drawn to because I wasn't necessarily the strongest, you know, to manhandle the bike in the air or whatnot. But like lip tricks, you could just slowly work up to. Like, just remember trying to learn them all. You know, double peg this quarter pipe right up to a 10-foot, and then feebles. Just try and learn them all. Quite. Yeah, that went into my nature of trying to do everything. If I could do it on something, I'd try and do it on everything.
Yeah.
You know, learn a trick and make sure I could do it from this right the way up to anything.
Yeah. That's kind of like we used to learn flyouts with that same mentality. Well, I'm going to learn this in a flyout, and we're going to be doing it over doubles. It was a similar thing, you know. Like you want to learn it to take it somewhere else. Yeah. And what about school? Like when you was at school, for them like years that you're still young, but you're fully into BMX. How much of a pain in the ass was school? Once you left, like, was that just like, I'm fucking going now?
I was never not that it wasn't for me. I always did it. I was always all right at school. Like, all right's probably the best way to describe it. But like, I couldn't wait to get out and just go to the skate park. It would literally be like, finish, go home, go to the Boneyard. Like, it was that and repeat. And no one really knew that I did BMXing. Just kept myself to myself. Like, just have the ride mag behind me, French textbooks, and my teacher couldn't see me. Like, as soon as it was out, I'm off.
That's what I thought you'd be like. What about the other kids that? What was BMX look like to the other kids who didn't ride BMX at that point in time? Like, you're the BMX guy. There's probably one or two of you in that school, right?
Just didn't get it.
Yeah.
And like, Ali was a couple of years older than me, so I've got no bones. Ali would probably be embarrassed to see me in school. You know, I would be, oh, Ali, you know, like, and he would be like, I'm trying to cough off with some 15-year-old girl or whatever. I remember his mates thinking his mates used to give me shit, like, who is he? Like, why are you talking to him? I was like, yeah, but you'll talk to me later when I give you a lift to skate park. It was definitely that. He was a couple of years older than me. I was just a fucking dork, like.
Man.
There was definitely that in school, and then there was a few people that like rode, but they weren't. Some were serious, but they weren't as serious as me. Like, that was just it, just tunnel vision for me. Like, that was all I wanted to do, really. It was just ride anywhere. It wasn't like I wanted to ride one type of thing. It was just like, just ride anywhere.
Yeah. So, yeah, obsessed. Yeah, that you can tell. Like, that's the mindset of someone like you. Like, you've gone so deep into it at so many levels. So, and then like, so you start going to like UK contests at this point, like further afield than local ones.
Yeah, well, that would kind of be on the transition where John would have finished GT and he would be on the STA or whatever. So he lived in Chester, similar to Bestwick and a lot of the others. They didn't live near Wakefield. They would drive to it and obviously go and ride there. But John was back in Chester. He wasn't travelling anymore. So we would come to the Boneyard all the time. It was much easier to come to us than it was to drive however far to Wakefield. So, yeah, we just rode with him all the time. And then obviously off the back of that, and him not having the connection to GT anymore, like, we'd go anywhere. You know, we used to go to Bristol comps, you know, like I remember, you know, that was not long after he got off GT. Like, remember when he knocked himself out bad?
Yeah, I was at that one. Yeah.
That was like the period where we just started going anywhere. You know, if you look back on John riding comps there was probably a big gap between him riding that Bristol comp and King of Concrete like 4 or 5 years before.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
When he rode the GT, no one saw him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, during that time then, every weekend we would just start going to places. Don't get me wrong, he wouldn't take us all the time because he was still riding with a Wakefield crew. But, like, we had more chance to go to Wakefield or we would go to Hull or these places because we'd just tag along with John. And then, obviously, that was coming into the time when those comps were coming up, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, when was the first Urban Games? Like those kind of contests, you know, Urban Games and
maybe
Bristol,
99 or 2000, maybe. Yeah,
that was a bit later. So yeah, skate and ride comps. Like we went everywhere really.
So he sorted you right out. Really, he was the mentor, wasn't he? Who else was in that crew?
Of what that started going around?
With you, John, and like who was the other guys?
It was me, John, Ali, and then there was people like we'd meet Wolfman and Kev, Craig. We'd meet up with Lee Mellor. We'd meet up with
Manchester guys.
Yeah, some of them, like maybe Clarky and Tommy and them, because they were around there the same age as me. So maybe through them. Not so much like the older generation of Manchester lot. Mark Howarth, maybe. Like we would bump into them. They weren't really in our group.
Okay.
Our group, like those people really, like John, Ali, me, and then we would meet up with others like Kev and Craig or whatever, where they'd still come from Wakefield.
And did you know about like the older, like the older legendary guys that had kind of not stopped riding but didn't ride as much, like Chris Hamer and the guys from Marazoo and like Harry and all the guys from Manchester? Did you know about them guys at this point? Or
Hamer, yeah, and then people like not so much Harry, because obviously I didn't know much about like Sheep and all that kind of era, but like used to ride quite a bit with Splodge, that obviously does know that, because he had the shops in Stockport and Bolton, so we rode with him a lot. And again, he was right up my street because he did all lip tricks. Rode with him, and then we would see Hamer about, obviously, you know, like street or at the Bones skate park in Stockport. So that was that had a really good scene as well.
That's right. I forgot about Bones actually.
Yeah, that had a really good scene there.
So all those guys used to ride there a lot, didn't they? Yeah.
I used to ride there a lot. Like, Lee would go. What was his name? Tom Holmes, Mike Woodyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was loads of people. John Hall. There was loads of people that rode Stockport, and then obviously Clark.
Barney rode there, didn't he? A little bit as well.
So you had Clarky, Tommy, Gaz, Barney. You know, they were all coming the same age as me, coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were really good times. Like I say, really good times. We had so many parks up our way.
Yeah, I remember that period where you could just ping pong around that area, and there was fucking indoor parks everywhere, weren't there? That
was right when we were, you know, right on it. So we would just go all of those. We were locals at all of them, really.
Yeah.
Obviously, Boneyard was our core one, but like we would literally go, you know, ride Boneyard in the week and then go to all those other skate parks at the weekend. There was tons of them.
Yeah,
you know, Bones, Bolton, Derby Storm was coming up. There was loads that would, like, you would class as Northwest.
Was it Pipeline, the other one?
Yeah, Pipeline. Yeah, that was really good as well. Yeah, that was really good. Yeah, we used to go there a lot. Yeah, that's where we. Yeah, we saw a lot of those riders there then.
And then what was like some of them bigger contests that you entered? When did you first get sponsored? Because this is like around a period that you started getting free stuff. You mentioned Volume, and I forgot about that. Was that your first sponsor?
That was my first sponsor. That so there was when Rampworks was in its second location where it is now. I'd got a flow frame for me and of the first Federal. Was it a Nation?
Oh, that's right, the red one, yeah.
Yeah, I had a photo doing like a fast planting dig, and then that same time, that same comp, I don't know how it came about, but Jason Enns came over, and he was riding that contest. Like I don't know if he was on a tour, but he literally just came to Rampworks comp, which was out of the blue.
I remember,
And then through him, they'd obviously put a good word into 70s and said, "Oh, that's that lad right to ride for Volume and Demolition," because they were quite all right at that contest. So yeah, that's how that came about, due to Jason Enns.
Oh, amazing!
Yeah, it was amazing. That was amazing.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, what frame did you ride? The Hellion or something?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, I think that was his one, and then it was decked out because obviously it was Volume and Demolition.
Castillo's. His one was the Destroyer.
No, it was that Hellion. I'm sure it was.
Okay, it was the first one. Yeah.
Yeah, it was too long for me, that other one.
Oh, okay. Did you break it? That frame?
I've never broke a frame ever.
Oh, really? Unreal.
Too skinny. No, I've wear the head tube on the TRM, but I've never broke a frame ever.
Fuck, that's good going, man.
Should have done.
And how long did you last on that? What happened?
With Volume Demolition?
Yeah.
It changed.
Oh, did it maybe change distros?
It changed distro. And obviously, before the Volume thing, like I said earlier, like Ian had given me a frame, so we'd been down to Hastings. John was connected to 70s, so we went down to Hastings a lot, and we met up with them by that time where we knew them all, you know. So I went to the old 70s warehouse where they had the spine and all that stuff, and there's the big S&M vert wall and stuff like that. So we knew all them. So as much as the connection had come from Jason Enns, my loyalty was more towards 70s.
Yeah, so I
can't remember. I don't know who it went to. Was it to Scoop or something? But there was no connection.
You went to Hot Wheels, maybe.
There was no connection to where it went to, so it was a no-brainer that I would just stay with 70s.
Yeah, so. I think it went to Hot Wheels. And what did you go on after that then? Fit?
Hoffman. No,
Hoffman. Okay.
Yeah, Hoffman to them. So yeah, that was good. I mean, from what I was saying earlier about head first, like Hoffman was just like the best.
Did you get much coverage on Hoffman? I can't even remember you riding for Hoffman.
You got quite a few ads. That was when Big Ed was shooting adverts and stuff like that. But yeah, just you got to remember there was me, Baz, and John. So obviously John and Baz were like here already. You know, Baz is obviously based in Hastings, and John's already massively well known. So like, there would be I'd get adverts, but there'd be few and far between fitting in between.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great. I went to the European X Games because Hoffman ran all those contests.
All right.
You know, like the BS comps, so they did a European X Games and I went there on Hoffman due to them, and then they got me to go to China as well. I went to China with Clint Miller and who else was there? A load of the Aussie riders, Zach Musaka and I've forgotten the other guy's name. He's going to kill me. But yeah, they gave us there was a theme park in China that had a full-size skate park, and they went there and did, instead of demos, it wasn't demos. Every day you did a contest, even though there was only 5 of us. And so literally went all the way to China, and you would place third one day, fourth the next day. It was the same 5 people. But obviously, going to Alton Towers, the person the day before hadn't seen you yesterday. So
yeah, of course, yeah.
That was
weird.
Yeah, really weird, really weird.
Oh, where was the European X Games then?
Barcelona.
All right.
It was right on the beach. That was good. I went there. I think. Do you remember Chris that worked at the Boneyard? Used to have dreadlocks at the time.
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we went to Barcelona and then we got the train back. So we
to the UK.
Yeah, stopped off in Marseille, stopped off in Paris. Went to La Défense, and then that was when contests were every other weekend. So I distinctly remember we went to the European X Games. Took a week to get back to London, and the Urban Games was on the next weekend.
Oh, all right. Oh, amazing.
Yeah, that was great. Went to Marseille and to Paris. And
what about, did you go to any of the bike shows? Because that was there'd been a couple of bike shows at this point in time as well between this, hadn't there?
Yeah, the bike shows. Yeah, we went, which was the one that Road Falls 1 came out of. That was the first one I went to.
Yeah, that was 98, yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, went to that, and that was that was a nice.
That was the one. Yeah.
I remember buying. The only thing I came away with from that day was Road Falls 1.
Yeah. Oh, there it is, right behind you. Yeah, that was a good one.
That was game changing because although I'd seen some of those riders at Woodward, you didn't know them.
Yeah.
So to see that for the first time as a trip, it was, and especially the street stuff, mine was just blown.
Yeah.
That was a good time on it when everyone was kind of
when things were becoming ridiculously mind-blowingly hard, but not impossible, because when things become impossible and now it's just anyone can do anything. It's kind of desensitized it a bit, but back then it's what a gap to rail. I remember seeing that and being how's he fucking managed that? Just mind blowing.
That bike show was really, there was quite a broad scope of people there.
It was mixed up fully.
And having those kind of people where a number of the distribution companies had come together and sent people, as opposed to it just being all 70s or all someone else.
Because I think it was mostly 70s.
Yeah, mostly 70s, but then you had a few riders from Standard and stuff like
that.
Standard,
Jim Reinstra was there.
Massive, fan of him. So,
Jim Reinstra.
Yeah, he was always incredible.
Yeah.
But we got
tap on the back rail. That video clip, yeah.
The best. Yeah. Absolutely the best. Anything he ever put out was just the best.
Oh, and what was the Urban Games that you come back for? Was that the first one or the second one?
First one.
First one, yeah.
Had all those war rides and where Scott and Fids
did the alley-oop, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they were cracking weekends. They
were good, man. Looking
back at them, in a car on that pub on the green.
On the common. Yeah.
Everyone was in the hotel. I slept in the car.
There was no one from America over for that one. It was the next one I think that people come over for.
Yeah, the next one was Uber, all that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A few people must have come over for that first one. Was Clint Miller there, the first one?
I can't remember, but I remember it just being predominantly English guys.
Yeah, Boff. I remember Boff doing a Superman to flat. I've got footage of him somewhere. Does a humongous Superman over the box and clears it. There was loads of people that rode in that comp. Like you said, it was more UK based, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think was he from Bristol area? Wasn't he Boff?
Yeah, Bristol, Boff. Yeah, there was a few from Bristol. Yeah, I distinctly remember. I've got video footage of him doing a humongous Superman and just jump box is gone, long gone.
And then So we're kind of like cruising along into like the best. Really, for me, this is like the best era of BMX. Like as BMX, I look back at it now. This is like from the late 90s to the early 2000s. Is like that's the patch that I think is like the shit. You know. Sounds like someone's getting killed upstairs, but yeah. And then like things are happening, like Orchid shoes and like new bike brands, but like good stuff's going on. And you said you was TM for Orchid at one point.
I was a bit later. That was.
So Shadow came before Orchid.
Yeah, when would Shadow started? So basically, the Shadow thing came about because Ali had already gone to America and was like well established.
Okay.
You remember the adverts? They literally like
all
the riders, and they gave, I think, 1 or 2 riders. You could choose each of the core pro team could choose 1 or 2 riders to be on the flow. So that's how I got the nod with Shadow.
Yeah. And that was you on Fit when you weren't on Fit yet?
Yeah. So I went from Hoffman to Fit.
Okay.
Yeah, I went from Hoffman to Fit and then got Shadow parts, because when I was on Hoffman there was no part thing. It was just whatever I wanted from the 70s, really.
Okay.
But I say that. Yeah.
So how did you end up from Hoffman to Fit?
There was no falling out or whatnot. I think it was just, I don't know when Fit started, but like they already had Baz and John, so it wasn't like
you fitted
better. But like
do
you know what I mean? That was, if you saw how many brands there were, to have 3 people on just one of the ones.
Okay.
It's just like who we're going to put on Fit when that came about, really. And obviously I'd known Robbo before, so
it seemed like a better mix for you and Fit than you and Hoffman, to be fair. Like,
you think? I didn't think it at the time, but obviously it did go on to be that.
Yeah, like a younger company and a newer thing. Looking back, I would say so. Yeah.
I mean, I was looking at the team they'd put together and just be like,
it was. So was you?
It was quite intimidating to be associated with them, even on a flow thing from the UK. Do you know what I mean?
Was you on Fit when they first started then?
Yeah, when it first started.
Oh, okay. So that first video, like that sort of era.
Yeah, I think I was the first Fit rider. Yeah.
All right, amazing.
With me, it must have been like me. Scott Edgeworth was on early.
That's right. Yeah.
Who else? I think that might be it. There might be someone else. It was Scott and me.
Okay.
I can't think who else it was.
What frame did you ride of theirs to start? Was it the S1 or something? Is that?
Yeah, S1 in grey. Yeah, that was good. That one.
Yeah.
That was pretty clean looking. That was like, I'd gone from some of the Hoffman bikes and of that time. The S1 was clean, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was like graphics and everything was pretty. It was all pretty. Clean.
Yeah, it was like back to basics, wasn't it? The Hoffman maybe a bit gussety and a bit like tweaked.
Yeah, but it was all that time. But then when the
but
like, it was opposed to me going back to like an STA or like a T1 or whatever. It was
things roll forward, don't they? And then they change, and they just seem to be at the sort of front of that sort of change a bit, really.
That was like around that time they went to Barcelona. Like we went to Barcelona about 2 or 3 weeks after they'd all been there for that trip.
Oh, all right.
Just with my group of friends from that time. That was quite funny. Them just getting paraded round, telling us what they'd done. Nobody just took us round and just showed us everything they'd done. It was just like you go, what you can do.
Pre-video, so the video wasn't out yet. You just getting the insight, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't even know they'd gone there, but we got there and the locals just basically paraded us around, showing us what they'd done and what we weren't going to do. So.
Yeah. Surprise, yeah. Oh, and what was your first ad on Fit? Can you remember?
I can't,
No. I wonder what it's about, maybe 2001, maybe.
I don't think it was unlike the Hoffman thing where there was in.
They started off low key and then moved up the ranks
with the Americans. They were building it, it would just be like Nate Hansen or Edwin, that would just be the main focus. There wasn't really a push for UK. It didn't need it because it was building. Yeah. Wanted to push what they were doing in America.
All right. So what was like the first significant Fit thing that happened for you?
Probably just hooking up with them whenever they came over, really. Like, obviously, at those times, like, Robbo and all them were over quite a bit. I went on a shadow trip once, and I went to, Roots Jam. So there was quite a lot.
Right. Oh, wow.
Like, Aitken and all them were there.
Yeah.
Like, that was a shadow trip that ended. Obviously, it was based around Orlando, so obviously Roots Jam was there, and then we went off on a road trip after that.
They look good, them Roots Jams. How was that? What one was it?
Second or third one, I think. It was the one before. It wasn't like the massive subrail one. It was pretty. Was it? Or was it? Might have been a bit earlier.
Vic Murphy was on one, wasn't he?
Yeah. No, it wasn't that one.
Okay.
It wasn't that one. I think it was. I think it was maybe the third one. The first one was like John Jennings and that, and then there was one.
Oh,
with
okay.
Butcher and Rick Murphy. It wasn't that one. It was like a third one. I remember not really being too intimidated to ride. I don't remember riding. I remember going on the trip afterwards, but I don't push the course much.
And the shadow thing was like that started to take off after this time, yeah?
Yeah, like we filmed on that trip quite a lot for the section for the first video, and then obviously got some footage from in the UK, but most of the footage from this road trip that we did, because it was like skate parks and street and all that. That was really good. It was like to go into America and actually doing a road trip as opposed to just going to Woodward. That was probably one of the first times I really did that. We went to all the skate parks that they went to in the road falls when they went to Florida. Didn't get to Kona. That's one I would have loved to have gone to still.
All right. And who was on that trip?
All the team. So it was Ali, John Jennings, Ryan Shear, Byron Anderson, Ronnie B came along, and then we met up with like Mike Andrews and what's his name now? I've forgotten. He used to fire the guns. Jason Levy. Remember that guy?
Vague recollection. Yeah.
He was wild. He jumped had a fake gun that he would he was on a rooftop and jumped from one roof to the other, and the police came careering over, wanted all our IDs, and he tried to convince them that he wasn't actually on the roof, that where they were looking at him from, he was on the floor, and was really trying to bullshit him, and he was just
that's pretty fucking good. That
it was really good. And Mike Andrews was really good as well. They had it was a proper BMX house. There was we were watching a video, and he had two sofas, one on top of the other, like a cinema.
Oh yeah.
Put it above.
They had that in in the Superdome in PA. They had one of them, like a double decker sofa.
Yeah, Jason Levy and Mike Andrews. That was highlight of the trip for me. Them two.
Fucking hell, brilliant.
Yeah, it was really good. That trip was good. Just shot photos and did video. God, Joe Simon made that video.
Oh, Joe Simon, yeah, that's right.
So yeah, it was good. It wasn't of that time when he had epic steady cams and all that. It was just
it was more real, yeah.
Good time.
And what about the backyard jams? When was that? A bit later, the first backyard jam you went to was what, Telford?
That must have been one of the first ones, yeah.
Okay, did you go to any KOCs?
One or two. There was one where Ali does a 360 wall ride on the spine. Went to that one.
Can't remember that.
Scott was riding, and there was a sequence of people doing loads of jump box tricks and stuff like that. Yeah, we just rode
Pink helmet Scott.
Wasn't that early?
I wasn't that early, no. Okay.
The landing was still as long as
slack. Yeah, maybe seen some of that on video. People's feet are blowing off when they land.
Yeah, unbelievable. But yeah, no, that was good. It was going back to what I said. I think that was the same year that lad Gizzy I was talking about in Liverpool. He tried to drop off the roof into the bank, in the street course.
What, Southsea?
Southsea.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think was it Butcher? Maybe Butcher had a sequence trying to do that one year.
Yeah, I think Gizzy tried. I can't remember who crashed and who pulled it. I don't know. Year after year, someone tried to ride off the roof, didn't they? That flat.
All right. Okay, yeah, I wasn't at that one, but
yeah,
that was
concrete. The being in the King of Concrete was as good as the contest. We stayed in student hall with Lee Mello and Ali and the Scottish lot were there and stuff like that. So it was like that was good fun. But yeah, backyard. What was the first backyard jam? Was it Telford, the second gen?
The second gen was, I think, Telford. Yeah.
And
that was the first one you went to, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
You went that one and killed myself.
Oh, that's the one where you tried to jump the gap, yeah?
Yeah.
So is that the crash where you like guillotined on like your body on the? I remember, yeah. I didn't remember until you just mentioned it.
I did. Yeah, that was.
Was that an hospital job, or was you all right after that? What happened there?
I was mangled. Like, that was a classic case of being young and keen. Like, you know, like now I tell kids, like, just take a second. I remember going for it and someone getting in the way, and rather than being like, I'm going to take 5 minutes and get a breather back, just went straight back round, you know, thinking, you know, I'm not important. Like, let's just get this done. Just went, and as soon as I took off, I was like, there's no chance. And just scissored it sideways, like.
I can remember it. That was a lost memory until you just brought that up. That's pretty fucking weird.
It was grim. It was grim. There was. Just,
I think did Ruben did it maybe, or someone did it, right?
No, Ruben did it. Yeah, just instead of onto the bank, like onto the top.
Okay,
yeah, even harder. Whereas I just like, oh yeah, I was in a bad way. Just wheeled myself into the hospital in Chester, got a lift back, and just like.
What was the story?
I didn't break anything. They had like extreme groin strain, I think it was. Like literally there was no skin on the inside of both my legs, like gone. Where I just like couldn't walk for 2 weeks, like properly walk like John Wayne for 2 weeks. And that was annoying because that was when the 70s trip came, the Boneyard after it. So like Miron and Joe Rich, like when Holman and all them came, and I literally was just barely back walking.
It's rubbish, mate. Is that on video?
What, the crash?
Yeah, I think I've seen it. I'm sure.
It's on one of the Scottish videos. Johnny Mingo's got it on one of his videos. Yeah,
I'm sure I've seen that on a video. Yeah.
Anyone with any respect would have stopped pressing record, but I think Johnny Mingo was like, "Yeah, he's dead." Carry on filming. He's dead. Yeah, but it's definitely on one of the Scottish videos. I'll find it.
And like around this point in time is the time when you took your brakes off.
Yeah, it was. I think it was just a common thing at the time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was really blowing up. Like, but I remember
when the fit team and stuff like that. A lot of them were brakeless. Like I remember being on the S1 and my brakes were off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what was that? Were you trying to change up your style and just like freshen it up a bit, or what was the story there?
I think it was just riding more and more street, really, and then like riding all kinds, really. You know, just doing the same stuff at the skate parks, but then riding street a bit more. And whenever we went somewhere, it wasn't just primarily on the skate park. And that was around the time that my crew back in Chester all rode. So like we would go to the backyard jam and we'd go street riding, you know, all around, and then come up to the contest. I remember going to Coventry and riding street, and we were like 6 or 7 miles away from the contest, you know, just riding street and then come back. It was all that time of just like riding more and more street, really.
Did you at this point? Did you look at like other sort of the BMX from before, like the sort of T1, maybe the T1 era, that kind of stuff? Did you look at that as like that's the old stuff and this is the new stuff, or are you just like just doing something else anyway?
No, not really. I wouldn't say it was the old stuff. Like the T1 stuff was obviously stuff that was like great and everyone aspired to be it, but I wasn't.
Yeah, you know, I mean T1 is like an era rather than like because everyone rode like that, you know.
I would like to say that I'd like to try and ride like that, but I wasn't that stylish or skilled to ride like that. It didn't feel like to me like as much as I could like appreciate.
No.
I couldn't.
I just meant that as like an era. Like no one could ride like them guys, but everyone wanted to ride like them guys. And then like the brakeless thing come out, and that was like the next thing that everyone wanted to ride like. So I just wondered if that was like, so for us, like we would have seen trail riding and been like, oh, we ain't really riding that ramp anymore. We're going to ride trails, like, you know, because it was like, to us, it was like the new thing and we was happening. And it was like, so I just wondered if that was the same vibe.
I think it was probably just the influence of being on the fit team and seeing what the American fit team were doing, you know, like Edwin and there was quite a few of them, weren't there, that was probably brakeless.
Yeah.
I was like, diehard into the New York street scene, but like loads of people took their brakes off the back of that and rode in
yeah,
their
it was
way.
a new hot thing. Yeah.
It just changed, tried to give you more control. Really, it seemed like that was quite refreshing at the time because you were just getting very stuck in the thing of doing, you know, the same lip tricks.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And getting more into street riding as it got more skillful to actually ride street properly. Do you know what I mean? Whereas before you would go out and do every local handrail, but now you could maybe tooth younger it or ice pick it or what. So
you say that helped your riding?
It was quite refreshing change. Yeah.
You think it gave you more control though?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Even to ride brakeless in a skate park, you know, you would like have to under pump or, you know, slow, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Slow it and control it down, whereas you had the brake before that would do that.
Yeah,
definitely helped on street riding. It what I was doing definitely changing, like manual to bar spin or something without catching the brake and that kind of stuff. More handrail stuff, really.
Yeah, okay. And this is like, I guess this was just before you took your brakes off, but you got the cover of Ride.
Yeah,
you still had a brake on, right?
Yeah, I've got a knock-on cable on. I've got all the stuff at the time. I've got a Chris King headset. I've got every rip-off thing. Yeah. So it must have been heavily influenced by Ruben and the like.
What was the story of the cover of Ride? Was that Northern John who shot that?
That was Lard.
Oh, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, Lard shot that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think we'd met with him a few times, like just because he'd been up to Chester because he was quite strong friends with Robin. So although he lived
that's right. Yeah.
He would come up and see Robin and stuff like that, and we'd ride together in that. And then I remember him coming up and he was saying that you could get the cover if you've got something good to do. He distinctively said that you could get, and I was like, right, get down this handrail then. So
and that handrail's big, yeah.
Yeah, it's big. It's one of them though. Like going back to what I was saying earlier about skill, like it's big, but it's a steep. So when you get on, you go into the bottom. It's not one of them where you've got to like. I didn't have the control like to get all the way
to balance.
really,
Okay,
it's literally like you're on and you go into the bottom.
Because I think you've got that on film. That one.
Yeah, that's on like that was around the time we were filming with my friends to kind of make our own video.
Okay, and that's online, yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, it's like
so I saw it from the cover. I didn't know it was so big, but when you see it on the footage, you can tell like it's a big one. Yeah.
There's one on one side, and there's an even bigger one on the other side that Josh has done. This other lad, like the other one's even bigger again.
Oh, okay.
But
and how was that? Like cover of Ride? Good feeling, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. And then it kind of like that's what I'm saying for like the Hoffman thing. Like it was like great. I've got a cover. Do you know what I mean? Like it was good, and obviously 70s had given me all kinds of bikes. It was kind of like felt good to actually get
something back.
Get good coverage, yeah.
Nice.
Didn't die. So.
You'd been in the mags like a bunch of times though at this point, right?
Yeah, some of the squat bags had shot stuff and stuff like that, like whole pipeline, and then we'd had the interview. Me and Ali had that interview.
That split interview.
Yeah, and then a few other photos and stuff like adverts and stuff like that and comps and stuff. But yeah, that was like a distinctive like cover.
Yeah.
I remember him saying like if you can do something good, get the cover. So it was like right, let's go there.
Oh, cool, man.
Yeah, it's good.
Nice. Where were we from there?
Can't beat a cover.
No, yeah, the cover's pretty like prominent, isn't it? It's like a bit of a distinction, you know.
Yeah.
And then like so, Orchid Shoes. What was the story there? You said you was TM for them.
That was a bit later on, yeah. So at one stage, I started to do a bit of work for 70s on the website, and was
okay.
And I got to choose like a few people to put on the team. And that was a bit later on. That was like when Jason Phelan and.
Okay, so you're going into 2005 or something?
Yeah, a bit later. I can't remember. I think the thing with 70s was like, you know, obviously if you had the bike sponsor and then you had the parts sponsor, whatnot. So I've got Fit, Shadow. Oh, we've got shoes now. You know, it was just like, you know, it was like who was already on in
the group. Yeah, in the family. Yeah.
So it was just an extension of that, really.
And what was Orchid Shoes? Did you ride for them just for 70s, or was that a US thing?
No, just for 70s.
Just for 70s.
Just for 70s.
Okay.
I think Robin was one of the only ones that was a UK-based rider, but like had a stronger connection. Like he was in that Orchid video that they did.
That's right. Yeah, he was on that road trip, wasn't he?
A lot of the sponsors were just 270s, so it was just like a UK-based hookup, really.
Yeah. All right. So then you had like your brakes come off, and can you remember the Street Fire days?
Yeah, I remember Street Fire, but yeah.
Well, when they're like, yeah, a lot of people had something to say about you taking brakes off on Street Fire, right?
Oh, did they? Oh, that's
I think
good.
so. Yeah, I thought you told me. Maybe I'm wrong here.
No, I don't remember.
Maybe I got it wrong. I just thought that was because that was like the opinioned, like.
Oh, like what's he doing coming over to our?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Don't know.
Gimmick infringement. That sort of, that quite,
Guilty, folks. Guilty. 100%. I want him with the cool kids.
And then, like, so from there, like, let me just check this out. So then we've kind of like around the time of, is this around the time of Roundabout, or like, are you doing Red Bull demos first?
Red Bull demos and all that first, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, like how did that all happen? The Red Bull demos and the like, all that stuff.
Again, through John and Baz, really, because obviously Baz had rode for Red Bull for a long time. Like rode with Baz for, I think the first times we met him were Urban Games, and then like he used to come and stay with us in the summer a couple of times. Not for long, but he would just come up and we'd go Derby Storm or whatnot.
Yeah.
Similar age, and obviously riding for Hoffman and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was on Red Bull, and then John obviously knew those people, so we just came as a package, really. I think like just when those demos were done, like I couldn't air very high in a vert ramp. I was just your token like tech.
Toothpick. Yeah.
Just
grinder,
like repertoire, really. Whereas the others could all air high. That was when like
that vert demos, only.
Just vert demos, yeah. A couple of spine demos and stuff, but mostly vert. Like we did Leeds and Reading, we did Tea in the Park in Scotland. What else did we do? A guy watched a full demo at Tea in the Park naked. Just off his box, naked. Who
were the other guys? Just you three, or was there other people?
Yeah, Scott did a few. Jerry did quite a lot of them. Yeah, Jerry did a lot of those vert ramps. Zach, who else? Then it'd be random people that would just pop in. It was mostly that. Jerry used to do a lot. I remember Jerry doing
crazy,
a lot.
Yeah, I didn't know that he did a lot. I've seen footage of him riding on one of them, but yeah, I didn't know he did a lot of them.
I think he did a few. I remember him being there a few. He definitely did. There was one in Manchester that they did, and it was like him, Zach, Scott, and then they all went home, and me and my friends blagged their hotel. We just went in and said that we were them. And
all
stayed in this like plush hotel across the way. It was great. It was well good. Just rocked up with Mr. Jerry Galley or.
What did they pay like them vert demos?
It was good. The money was really good, and that was at a time when I didn't have any outgoing, so I saved it. I saved most of it.
Yeah.
That was, that, and then that was like the same year as King of Street and stuff. So I ended up with like saving loads of money in 1 year. So.
Oh, did you win at King of Street?
Well, yeah, that's like one of the only comps I ever won at. So we did it. There was a demo. I'm sure there was a vert ramp demo there as well, because I remember going there, getting paid for the demo, and then competing in the comp and winning that. So I ended up like
cleaning up.
Yeah,
there was definitely a vert thing there because I watched it like last week or whatever.
Yeah, I'm sure it was a vert demo.
Okay.
So I wasn't placed in a vert comp. It was a vert demo. So we remember it was a Red Bull vert ramp. I'm sure it was. It was a Red Bull event, wasn't it? Was it a Red Bull event?
I can't remember.
Yeah, it was.
So them demos were like you did them for one summer.
Yeah.
And then the King of Street was like in the middle of them, I guess.
Yeah, in Birmingham. Yeah.
And you won that contest.
Yeah.
Can you remember what that paid for the winner on that contest?
Yeah, I got $2,000 in a day.
Wow.
With that and the vert demo. I always it was sick. But all I had to show for it a year later, was a mini disc player that broke one day out of warranty. I remember treating Wolfman and everyone to Little Chef on the way home, just like celebrate treat. Yeah, that's probably the only comp of note that I ever won, really.
Can you remember what you did in that comp? Like the big moves.
Sketchiest fakie. Do you remember?
I remember the fakie. Yeah, I've seen it on video. Yeah.
Shocker. And then just fast plant any ramp that was there. I remember riding on a photo of me doing a fast plant, one-handed, and the one-handed fast plant. I was getting off. It was a bail. I was jumping.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, who did you beat? Can you remember?
Yeah, like Clint Miller, Scott, Jerry, Pill took a
Okay. That's when he knocked himself out. Yeah.
Yeah, bad. Yeah. Chris Mahoney.
There was
everyone of that time was there really.
It was a big one. Every rider was there, but there was no crowd. It looked like there was no one there at all.
No, I don't know if it was not publicised or what, but it was massive.
Yeah, it looked like in a huge arena with no one there.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. That's where they used to do gladiators and all that, wasn't it?
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was it? But NEC was it?
No, it wasn't NEC. It's the one in the city centre. I can't think what it's called now.
Okay. I didn't know
it's
somewhere else.
It's not the NEC. It's one right slap bang in the middle of Birmingham.
All right.
Yeah, you're right. Now you come to think of it, yeah, there wasn't many people at all.
You can see it on the footage. Yeah, there's no one there. Yeah.
Not bothered.
And then
put my money in ran.
Yeah, fucking too right. Job done. And then you end up moving to London for a winter.
That was off the back of having that saving, and ever since I left college, I worked at my mum's business is what I run now. So from 18 to now, I've worked in the business. So it was I'd saved all this money and was just gonna go and have a gap year. I don't know how old.
Yeah. Gonna go and live a little. Yeah.
22. Yeah. I don't even remember why London. I think we'd just done a load of trips there, and obviously what you were saying earlier about street riding, it was
untapped, as you used to call it.
Yeah, 100%. You didn't go anywhere.
It's untapped. That was one of our quotes. We still use that one.
You didn't leave Wall still.
I lived in Hackney. We still use that one. We still use that untapped. Yeah, it's fucking classic, man. Love it. And then, well, the riding was different, wasn't it? The riding that you was doing was completely different to what everyone else had done because it hadn't reached that level yet. So, but yeah. I don't
know why it came about. I wasn't necessarily close with Marv or Benson, but I must have been down. I've been down a few times just with trips with Clarkey or with my group of friends.
Yeah.
And twigged that they were moving there as well, because that was it was the only people I knew that were that lived there that rode was Marv and Benson really, and I knew Jack.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Jack.
Yeah, that's who I live with. I live with Jack.
Cool, man. That was a good time, yeah. But it's you came in a real bad sort of time of year, didn't you?
Yeah.
It was just as it was getting dark, you know? Yeah.
Just stupid optimism, thinking,
and then you went just as it was getting better again. You seemed to be not that long, yeah.
Found out I was going to be a dad. That's why.
Yeah, I remember you saying, you telling me. Yeah, I remember.
That was great. Literally, cheap as chips. I had to move my mattress when I opened the door to into my room, but I was never there. And just every day would just go out in a different direction. The problem I've got is when I look back on it, no one else was unemployed, so I would go out first thing in the morning because I've been used to going to work at 9 a.m. Go out first thing, go miles, find a load of stuff. By the time I got back and Marv had finished work, it was fancy trekking out 18 miles to this. It didn't really come off, but there was some great times where you just went all over the place. And obviously,
I remember you used to go on filming missions as well, didn't you? It was maybe that was at the weekends and stuff. But yeah, I remember that. The footage crop up. Someone would have it. I can't even remember who. But yeah, because you went out with Lemsip a few times, didn't you?
Yeah, I used to ride with Lemsip quite a bit.
Yeah, remember.
Yeah, I was quite close with Lemsip. He was quite keen to ride. He didn't live far from where I lived.
That's right.
Yeah, rode there and then used to ride there. I'd go to PlayStation. There wasn't many. That's the thing with London. That probably still the same now. There's not many places to ride undercover. You'd go.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Meanwhile, but PlayStation as it was, or Bay 66, whatever it was. That one, Seven Sisters, was it? It was underneath a community centre.
It was the one in. It wasn't Seven Sisters. It was the one in Baker Street. It was near Baker Street.
Went there quite a bit.
Or are you talking about the squat that was in Seven Sisters?
No, there was a community centre. there, and underneath it in the arches was ramps. We rode there quite a bit because no one ever went there.
Oh no, that's in South London, I think.
No, it's not. It's not in South London.
You're either talking about the place in Baker Street, which I can't remember the name of the place, which was in West London.
Yeah, that's probably more closer to it.
Or there's some arches in South London, which you can't even get in there. Yeah, I don't know where that would be.
It was definitely North London.
Okay, it would be Baker Street place then, yeah.
Community centre, and then down below there was like an arch, and it just had like a few
couple of quarters.
That was it. Yeah, but
that's it. Yeah,
stuff. It was good there.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but it's got a certain name for that club. Yeah.
But I went all over. I used to go and ride out and meet Taliban Tom and go Thamesmead and then go out as far as like Crystal Palace, that old quarter and stuff, like anywhere. What was that roundabout where they did the London's Call and DFTU? South London, can't remember what it's called.
Oh, Elephant and Castle.
Yeah, there. Yeah, all around there. Anywhere really.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff out that way.
There was so much stuff that I found that I couldn't even remember how to get back to a week later. You know, I just not made any. It wasn't like you didn't have an iPhone where you could like pin location.
Yeah.
No, I just had a little A to Z London map that I just scribbled on, and then I bought a London map that was the size of my wall, like full size, like 8 foot by 8 foot off Ordnance Survey, and we'd just come home and put where stuff was. But we never got back to most of it. It was like it was great, but you weren't going to do something gnarly on your own 10 miles home while everyone else was at work. So it was a bit of a failed plan, really. But there was definitely some good times.
Still pretty fucking interesting, though. Isn't it?
Oh, it was great. Like driving around every day, just going out in a different location in London.
Yeah.
A few sketchy moments, but like not bad considering.
Yeah, Thamesmead, like probably not at that point, but fucking Thamesmead 10 years before was fucking ludicrous. Yeah,
I remember the only time that we really gotten some lads followed us. You know, there's an estate when you ride from Angel down to Houston. There's an council estate on the left, and I remember riding in there once and just seeing some guy get hit with a baseball bat, and we just like swerved round and doubled back, and then these two fellas just followed us for miles on mountain bikes, trying to like, you know, waiting for backup to basically get our bikes off us. But like that was it really. Most people kept themselves to themselves. Like if it was going to kick off, it was going to royally kick off or nothing at all. It wasn't. Like in Liverpool and up our way, you'd get scally kids like, you know, chatting shit at you.
Testing the water,
Not there. It was either all or nothing. It was either you're going to get your bike just taken, or nothing at all. And I was lucky. It was nothing at all, 9% of the time. So
that's good. It was winter anyway, so people are scared to come out in the winter, man. Even to steal bikes. So Roundabout is around this time, yeah?
Yeah, 2006. Okay. Yeah.
And what was the idea?
The first one was when I was in London. The first one was
the first one was when you was here, yeah?
Yeah, because we went a lot. There's a whole section in it where we ride.
London features heavily,
and then we ride the Thames Barrier and Thamesmead. We ride all the spots that I'd found. I took them to.
Okay, so you were still here for that. So that was what was that?
Yeah, the first one.
Okay.
And then we went. You know, we went all around the country, but when we were in London, and a lot of the footage that built up my section was from London. The first and the second one was when I built up my sections by footage I'd got in London outside of the trip.
Oh, all right, that makes sense. Yeah, because that big rail that Ali does, that's in Hackney, isn't it? It's probably right near where you live.
Right next to where I lived. Yeah. In Homden,
And what was the idea of Roundabout? Have you seen it recently? I watched it the other day.
I think the first one's online. I don't think the second one.
That's right. Yeah, I haven't seen the second one at all. But the first one I watched, I was like, whoa, what's going on here? It was it was I think like this is what I think. When I looked at it the other day, I was like, oh, so this is like a reaction against like the sort of punk heavy metal skulls and like dagger of BMX that came before it, because it was so polar to that. And I thought these guys are trying to like make it brighter and friendlier and like more sort of house music almost, you know?
I think it was two things. I think those colours and everything you just mentioned there is Robin to a T.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And
the graphics like was like really sort of kids TV show kind of.
Yeah, but that was Robin. Robin did a lot of the graphic design.
So Robin did the imagery.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously Baz, but like, yeah, you know, they were both. You wouldn't say that Baz or Robin was synonymous with like heavy metal or, you know.
Yeah, yeah, of course. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And then Ed, obviously, that edited it. If you think he'd done number 10, number 10's a bit. It's pretty much the Roundabout trip, but just a scene video.
Yeah, it did. But it didn't look as like
the same feeling.
Different. Yeah.
But then the soundtrack on number 10 is not too dissimilar to the soundtrack of something like Roundabout. It would use music that was in the charts, and it would use classic music, and it would use, you know, borderline some dance pop music.
It was I remember number 10 as being quite an indie soundtrack, but maybe I've got that wrong. But
I think, yeah, but there was definitely lots of indie music in Roundabout 1 and 2, but it was mixed in with stuff that you would hear in the chart, which was probably
that's the stuff that stuck out. Like,
yeah. Well, it would have done at the time, but like from what people tell me now and did then, and obviously it was free with Ride, it went down well. You know?
Yeah.
And it was all of us lot that were kind of like riders of that time that people had seen in the mag. So it was like, and we were
as a crew. Yeah. How did you pick them riders? Like, did you have anything to do with picking them, or was it they just chose you and you was in? Yeah. It
just organically happened that we were all friends. Like Caleb lives in Hastings. Baz had lived with Ian and was in Hastings for the number 10 years. Suter would always come down from Hastings, and obviously I was close. Ali was always close with Robin because he grew up in Manchester and he knew Baz and he knew me, so it was just like perfect. I don't know. It was quite, you know, if you've got Caleb and then Suter, like they're quite complete, you know, opposite type riding styles, but it somehow worked. We were just close friends.
And what was the like? How did that end up on Ride? And like, what was the background? Do you know any of that stuff, or you don't know?
In what sense? Robin worked there. Robin worked for
he was working there. Okay.
Yeah, he was working there.
Okay.
And the first one was free with. The first one was free with Ride.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah. And what was the product range? T-shirts and sweatshirts, or you have more than that? Yeah.
Yeah, it was just those two in bright colours.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah. I think there was no real. It was just an excuse to get those group of riders to go on a trip.
All right.
Really. And then obviously off the back of that, like Baz and Robin could be quite creative in terms of like they gave it a name and everything like that, really. Because outside of that, everyone that was on that trip would have rode for companies. Like Caleb would have gone on a metal trip, or Ali would have gone on a shadow trip, or whereas that was just an excuse for us all to get together and go around the UK. And obviously we, you know, hit shops and stuff like that sold. I don't think a large amount of clothing was sold, really. You know, it was more about just using it for an excuse to go on the trips.
It was a crew. It sounds like it was a crew video, really.
Yeah, it was just a crew video. We just obviously used that as the means to go around.
Yeah. I know what was it like? Where did it want to go though? Like, did it want to go somewhere else, or was that just it and it just kind of petered out?
You'd have to ask them. Like, there was never any. I don't think the rest of us had any involvement really. Like,
oh, okay.
It was just like, are you into this? You know, it was two close friends that we were good friends with and rode with quite a lot with Baz and Robin, and they were just doing this outside of what they wanted, something creative, you know, outside of Robin for Ride and Baz riding for Red Bull and stuff like that, really.
Yeah. And it was Ed filmed it, and edited it.
Yeah. Ed filmed and edited it. Yeah, so, you know, like with him doing number 10 and Brighton Ain't Ready and stuff, there was quite a lot of, it was a quite distinctive way that he edited stuff.
Yeah.
You know, coming off the back of the likes of Voices and those kind of videos, like number 10 was just an extension of it, and he worked at 70, so it was all tied in.
What was your view on Voices when that came out?
Oh, that was like, for us, you just heard, obviously before the internet, you just heard like rumour mill of stuff that over the Pennines, because Sheffield's not far from us.
Yeah.
So you would hear snippets of what stuff people had done. Some of it was bullshit, you know, like some of it just came across as like, no, they didn't. But like a lot of it was just like, in the same way you were saying earlier about trajectory, like a lot of those people who just got together and they were at the level of the Americans in Sheffield. So you were just like, oh.
Yeah, and no one really. Those guys had been pretty underexposed as well until that video came out. So.
Yeah, well, they'd all probably been, you know, not heard of where they came from, like Marvin Newbury and Joe and Dan. They would come to Sheffield, and it just worked as a perfect melting pot for them all to get like really good, really quick. Yeah.
Was there ever any negativity about that video in like the people that you knew? Did anyone ever like go, oh, well, you know?
The Roundabout video?
No, the Voices video. Yeah.
I don't see how you could.
Oh, I heard people talk shit on it, but I just wondered if you did as well.
That's because they didn't make it.
Yeah. No, it was. They
didn't make it, and they probably their scene wasn't progressing as quickly as theirs was. Probably
it was pure envy talk, but like, you know, people were young, and you could expect that. But what about Roundabout? Did people ever say anything to you about that, or just not other than me just now?
I'm sure. No, I'm sure. Like, I can see how it was Marmite. Like, definitely, I can see how it was. But like, I don't know. I wasn't the type that people would like say something
to.
Care. I mean, I wasn't on a message board saying shit.
Yeah, you didn't care. Yeah.
Like, I've always been pretty lucky that I've always, whenever we've gone somewhere, like although there would be cliques, I've always rode with, like I could go to Sheffield and ride with. I know all them lot. You know, we'd go to Warrington and we'd ride with them. I could go to Preston and we used to ride with Will Jackson and Northern John. And just because we travelled all the time, we knew everybody.
Yeah.
You know, so it wasn't like he's coming in trying to do our spots.
Yeah.
We travelled everywhere anyway. And especially with like the Futures crowd, they were all of my age. So when I moved down to London and Marvin Benson was here, it was like, great.
Well, what about Marv? He was spot militant, wasn't he, when he came here? Well, when he was still here.
I always got on with Marv.
Totally. But I love the fact that he's so spot militant. Like, I just find it funny how you got on with him. Like,
you need it sometimes.
Protective. Yeah, totally.
What, he was spot militant about spots in London?
Yeah.
How? He's not from there.
Stories of him locking handrails and all sorts, you know, like all that stuff is good, man. I think it's funny.
He needs to unlock his bike. Never mind locking his bike. Unlock your bike. I quite like it. I like this.
I do. I think it's good. Yeah.
You know, there's plenty of people that like are meek and don't say anything. Like at least you knew where you stood with him.
Yeah. No, I find it. I'm all for it.
He was probably one of the people that pushed me riding when I lived in London. Like probably one of the only, like you said earlier, I rode with like Lemsip and stuff like that. But Marv was really good. So when we would go out, we would do stuff.
Yeah, he wanted to do stuff.
Yeah, he pushed me. It wasn't like I'm going to go out with someone that's like not going to do a handrail. Like he was going to do stuff he was doing on Voices and Tomorrow We Work. So like I definitely led off Marv during that short time I was there.
Cool. And did you end up on the Carhartt thing? Was that when you was in London, or was that pre when you was in London? So
before I came to London, Jack got me a hookup with Hurley because he worked at Hurley.
Okay.
Nah, it was in the East End, where Carhartt is now, or was. Brick Lane.
Yeah.
Brick Lane.
Shoreditch somewhere, I think. Yeah, I remember the offices,
Hoxton Hotel, that area.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
So Jack worked for Hurley and got us like a hookup for that during the Roundabout 1 phase. And then when I moved to London, the Hurley thing stopped and I'd become friends with James Fairbanks. And he worked at Carhartt. So because at that time we used to ride, and he didn't ride street all the time, but once a week we'd go to Scott's Ram. So we'd go and get was it the Silver Link?
Yeah.
And then ride through the tunnel, the Hyde Tunnel.
You go to Woolwich and you ride through the tunnel. Yeah.
Through the Woolwich Tunnel, and then we weren't far. We used to go every week to Scott's Ram.
Yeah.
So that's how I got to know James really. And then from that, got sponsored by Carhartt. Again, just do like a hookup in London, and then it progressed to like the European team. So it kind of stepped up to where I was riding for Mike Emdy, because he was like involved with Carhartt at the time.
And what was that a money deal, or was that just stuff?
It came on to be a small amount of money deal, but yeah, like first it was just clothes, but those clothes are so expensive. I've still got coats now. Like, you used to get a set amount of, like 20 items you could order.
All right.
So I'd order 10 coats. I'd have like 2 T-shirts and 10 coats. I've got half of them now. They're like 250 quid each. Like, these coats have lasted me, 15 years.
I remember that being like remember everyone had, well, not everyone, but a few people had them big Carhartt stickers on their down tubes. I always remember seeing them being like, fuck, I hated them. Like, it's fucking like, fuck off. Yeah. But yeah, it was good that someone got paid for it. But yeah, I was fucking, Marv used to sport them quite a bit as well. Did Marv ride for Carhartt? He must have done, because he had them big stickers quite often.
Yeah, well, there was a time when I kind of got, Mike Emdy wanted me to put it was so short-lived. Like, I rode for Carhartt for a while, and then they wanted to expand it into like a UK team. So I put forward like 8 to 9 people and did a load of work, got a load of orders, put the clothing in. They got like a small amount of stuff, and then they cancelled it as quickly as that. I'd done a load of work. It was disappointing, really.
Yeah, because they've had a German team for years. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a whole, they had Flatlanders and all kinds. Like, I went on a few Carhartt trips abroad with like Andy Zeiss and Ben Hennon and stuff like that. Hanu Cools. There was loads of people that were on.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But then he literally sent me an email saying, "Can you put a UK team together?" I did that with everybody from like Alex Donachie to Farron to Marv, and then within a month, sacked it all off and just kept the skateboard team. Yeah, disappointing. Yeah, they shafted Benny Alley, went to Barcelona and hurt himself, and then didn't get him back. Ian had to get him home. That was
okay.
Yeah, low blow that was.
Sour, yeah.
Yeah, it was really, because they well had the means to do so, and Ian had to get Ben home. So
yeah, fuck that.
Yeah,
and then like so then we're kind of coming up to like the Fit UK team, right?
Yeah, that would be the 4 down. Yeah, obviously the 4 down was established there, and Fit was with 4 down. So yeah, doing the
and then there was like some pretty good trips to like weird countries in Europe.
They were the best trips for me.
So this is around the time that you're getting injured all the time. You remember this period, right? It was like, was it after Roundabout 2 or something?
Yeah, 2006. I had my son, and then first Empire Dirt, I blew my ACL out in practice, and then after that, got better, broke my hand like within 2 weeks of being back on my bike, and then I went on the first Fit trip. I didn't realise I'd done my ACL. I Empire Dirt, and then went on the first trip to Greece, wobbled my knee, was out like day 1, like literally had to sit in the hostel like day 1. And then the second trip in Helsinki, tried to do a flip and under rotated street and broke my kneecap, fractured my kneecap open. Yeah. I mean, by the grand scheme of things, in terms of like the gladiators of old, like Hoffman and Miron and DMC.
But I remember it was like clack, 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 clack. Yeah. I remember
I couldn't make the end of a Fit trip, it seemed like literally.
But then I remember you like just going riding, and I can't remember where I was, and you just fucking ate it. Like in between all the crashes that you'd had, like you just like doff, and you just ate shit. I can't remember what you were doing. And I was
could have been anything, John.
It was like, you know, one of them times where you eat shit and you get up and you're just like, what the fuck? Like, what am I doing? It was one of them sort of moments. And that was in between all the other shit that was going on. And did that ever cross your mind, thinking, fuck, this is not worth it? Because it just seemed like you was injured for about 2 years.
The ACLs were soul destroying. Like, I mean, the only saving grace I would say of that is, whereas if someone does their ACL now that's young and coming up, they've got to just sit there for 6 months. I had a young son. I had the business that I worked within. So it's like, for me, that time did tick by quite quickly. But, I mean, I did my ACL twice, and that took me like 9 months both times to not being able to ride and having to do physio and stuff. So that was soul destroying.
Yeah, it seemed from a distance, it seemed like you was out forever. Like, yeah.
at that time, it definitely came. If you looked at that period of 5 years, like I did both my ACLs, broke my hand, like fractured my kneecap on a trip. Like it was like I can't make the end of a fit trip every year.
That's it. Yeah.
That was a one trip that I looked forward to. That was a kind of only real trip that was still going, and I couldn't make the end of a trip every time. Like.
And they look fun as well, so yeah.
They were really good, yeah. Sweden was good. The last one, Sweden, and then we did one to France, and then they were really good. I made the full duration on them.
So was this like? So that was after you rode the Soul Bowl event.
Yeah, download. Yeah,
that was just before, I guess, right? Or did you?
Yeah, early. Yeah. It must be 2006, 2007.
Yeah.
That was it. That was 2006. The only reason I know that is why is I got an invite to the download contest, and I get there and I brought my missus with me who's pregnant.
Okay.
And there's no room for us. There's not enough room for us, so I ended up having to sleep in a bed with me and my missus, and then the next bed over was Akeem Kowalski, and my missus was just like, "What have you done?" I couldn't afford to get us our own hotel room because there wasn't one, so there was two beds. Me and my missus in one and Akeem in the other.
Fucking hell.
It was random. I should have just got home.
Fuck. And you rode that thing as well, right?
Yeah.
Who is it? Was that Joe Richard? Was it that one?
Yeah, when he did the big pocket.
The big pocket.
Yeah, big pocket. Ruben rode it. It was loads.
Garrett maybe. Was Garrett there?
Yeah, Garrett was there. Who else? Zach. I don't think it was one when Koji Kraft and Bestwick and all them were there. Tabron, I think, was there. Yeah, I mean...
And who played? And what was going on? Like, are you riding while people are playing, or what's the story?
It was just imagine the humongous bot. They must have come over from America. It must have done. They must have brought
shipped it. Yeah.
Yeah. If you crashed, you had to be let out by one of the corners. They dropped the corner out and you dragged you out that way. But yeah, it's just a huge vert ramp, tent above it, so if it rained, you could still ride it. And then it was just in the middle of the Download Festival.
So you couldn't see people playing from the decks?
No, there was again, they must have shipped in all the stands and stuff like that. So there was tiers of stands that people could around. But I remember that being amazing,
yeah.
Because all those vert contests, when did you get Joe and Ruben and
then that's it. Yeah.
It was weird. I don't know how it came about, but yeah, it was good crap.
Yeah, it looked. I watched some footage the other day. It looked cool. Yeah.
It was really good.
Who played on that?
I remember Slayer.
Oh, Slayer played, yeah.
Yeah, and that was about it. I don't know. I wasn't up on all those bands. I remember Slayer and sleeping in the same room as Akeem Kowalski with my missus. Those are the two things I remember.
I was going to say, I thought he might have slept on the floor and done the right thing, but he just sounded like he wanted to take the bed.
It was a bit like Sixth Sense, just she was just like, what's going on? Yeah. Forgive me.
And then so after that, you got the ride flip cover. Was that on a trip?
That was on a shadow trip for the second video. So I'd gone down to 70s, and that's one of the only times that someone had ever been sent specifically to film with us. So Johnny Devlin to the UK to film a section.
All right.
We did a road trip from Hastings right up to by where I lived. Ali was meant to be on the same trip, but he'd hurt himself at a contest in America. So by the time we got to Chester, he was just riding again, but he missed most of that filming trip. It was meant to be me and him.
Yeah.
Obviously. And then Robin came along shooting photos for Ride, so it turned into us shooting. And then, again, from me wanting to ride obscure spots, we went, and Ali wasn't with us or whatever. I just went to all random spots, went to reservoirs and Milton Keynes for that ditch and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we rode quite a lot in London as well on that trip. When I rode Meanwhile and all around there. West Ham, all the spots that
I don't think most of them places are there anymore in West Ham, yeah.
Oh, really? That drive under the flyover? Yeah,
I think most of that, that's been fully, from what I hear, it's been fully redeveloped down there, so I don't know if that stuff's there anymore. But
I just tapped into everything of the time I said earlier when no one was about to film. I just went back and had all those locations. So just went with Devlin and went round London and,
no one was riding to West Ham to see what there was to ride back then.
No.
It was like kind of it's in an obscure place of like no bike scene around it. Well, back then it was anyway.
Yeah, well, that was the thing when I would just go to West Ham and then go down to like Canary Wharf and just look around there, and then occasionally ride through that same tunnel I was mentioning earlier, meet up with Taliban or.
Yeah, okay. You just go. You're off the beaten track. Yeah, Woolwich right, and all them places. Yeah,
like street where Scott's Ramp was and all that, because no one ever went there.
Yeah. So and then like also like you're coming up to like more sort of modern stuff now, and it's like the canal lock gap.
Yeah, that was filming. So that was off the back of. So obviously Coxie was doing the main filming for Four Down, so it was quite good. The fact that obviously with Ian being at the helm and having more of a say. So previously we never got a look in to get any footage in a fit video. It was just Van and those people. Obviously Ian was pushing for us to get more footage, so we put a section together for the UK riders, which I think went on the bonus or whatnot. And that was it. Like Coxie had come up a few times to film with us, so we just did like a trip where, like, with riders like Benson was up there, and there was a few other riders from up our way that were owed. So how the lock came about is between 2003 and 2006, before we had our first son, my wife was at uni in Leeds, so that locked in Leeds.
All right.
So similar to when I was living in London, I was going all the time to Leeds and exploring there just the same. So obviously that spot, I wasn't new to that spot, but I rode street and seen it and realized you could ride it as a quarter. But like the more and more I looked at it, it's not too dissimilar to the Boneyard's channel.
All right. It looks tight though, like really tight.
The landing is super tight. So whereas normally you would go across and like cut the transition halfway up across and just ride it out with a wide landing, you had to arch it. You had to go higher than the quarter pipe to get the arc. All right. So that just came about. We were riding street one day, and I was just like, I know that's there. Do I bring it up? Do I bring it up? As soon as I call it out, I'm gonna have to go. So, and then I was just like, let's go there. So that's why there's no photos. I didn't tell anyone. Benson didn't have his camera. We were just like, let's go and look. And then the problem is, if I called it out, I'm going to do it. That's normally what happens. I don't normally back down from it.
And how long did that take? How long did that take for you to figure that out? Like, right, this is where I'm going to come through it, and I'm going to take off.
A nervous like clean up, like brushing it down. Going, fuck, is this?
What am I doing?
I wasn't worried about falling into the water. I wasn't worried about that. I was more worried about like just crashing into the other side. Stairs, the wall, just like full pelt. But like I say, it is it was very similar to the Boneyard channel. Like, and I'd rode that my whole life.
How far across was that channel, you think?
I don't know. 14, 16 foot maybe. I don't know.
It's big, yeah. So
as wide as a barge is, and then some on both sides. Yeah. But the quarter's perfect. It's like they're both perfect. It's just because of how narrow it is on the side.
Or is it's got to be as wide as two barges, isn't it?
Two barges. Yeah, so they go alongside each other. However wide two barges is, I don't know. But that's why there's only ever video footage of it, because no one had a camera, because I didn't tell anyone I was going to do it. It was just in the back of my head all day. Like, I know that's there. Should I do it? Right. Okay, let's go then.
And how many? That was obviously one shot. Like
one. Just one.
How many run-ups?
3 or 4.
That's what I was going to say. Like 2 or 3. Yeah.
I can't do that anymore, because then you.
And that was with no break as well. Like, just so that you couldn't stop if you were going to.
Yeah, no break. Yeah.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
That was quite.
If I was going, I wasn't going to stop anyway. Like.
Yeah. But something might happen. Like, oh shit, this is not right, and you have to stop. But it worked anyway.
That's worked for me sometimes, and it's definitely not worked for me others. That's how I go about stuff, and like it works, and then when it doesn't, it really doesn't.
Yeah. And then
I can't do multiple things. I can't do multiple trips. I'll just be like.
Yeah, no, it makes it worse. Yeah, you have to make the choice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I knew when I called it out. I'm like, I am going to do that. I'm not going to go there and not try it.
Yeah, that was quite that was a good one though, man.
That's normally like a lot of my sections are that they'll just be like one off big hit, out of a section of like mediocre. It's like, I'll get just one big clip that I've wanted to do. They're never. It's never a multitude. I've never had a film in time where you get multiple big moves. It's normally just one in one edit, one in another edit.
Yeah, but your riding's quite like the other stuff you do is strong anyway. So like, you don't really need all that multiple, like pretty fucking
Good though. Feels good to get those stuff.
Oh yeah, 100%. But like the other stuff's fucking good. So yeah.
Well, I would say like ever since having my kid, like my riding's felt the best it's ever felt, really, especially in these last 5 years or so.
That's fucking cool, man. But I'll tell you what I noticed the other day: a decade over a spine.
Yeah, that was again. I'd learned decades and was doing an interview and was like, I'd like to do them. Not many people did.
No, that's right. Yeah,
it's not the cleanest, John, but yeah.
Oh man, I'd say that was pretty fucking good. That I was out of the blue. I was like, what the fuck? He just decade the spine. Yeah. So I never even seen you do a decade before.
I learned them on the floor, flatline one years ago. Like I could do a few flatline moves, and the decade was one of them. And then just remember learning them on like just like a fly out onto the deck.
Yeah.
And then I haven't done lots of them, just to do them on jump boxes, and then I've done one on a spine. I think that's the only one I've ever done.
Is that the only one you've ever done over a jump, or just the jump box as well?
I've done them over jump boxes multiple, but that's the only one I've ever done over a spine.
It looked like it worked over the spine, I thought.
That was one of them where I was like, that worked out better than I thought it would for once. You know, it normally ends in a heap. But yeah, no, that was at a good part. That was the old Darwin Park. I don't know if you
that's right. Yeah, it was the upstairs at the mill thing, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I remember it. Yeah,
it was good scene. Good scene.
Yeah, so then we're kind of like coming up to date. And I wanted to ask you about the obsession for old BMX memorabilia and media.
Always been a bad hoarder of everything. Like I used to collect Batman comics when I was a kid, and like my mum was going to put me forward for You Bet once because you could show me the cover and I could tell you what number magazine it was. Like, I literally had hundreds of comics and could tell you like that's what number was which. Then the magazine thing really came into it in lockdown. So when lockdown worked, the business was open. We sell like cleaning supplies, so we supplied all, key workers. So I was just in work every day on my own, and I'd had these mags that were stored, and I realised I can either get rid of them, or I looked and was like, I've got loads.
Were they mags that you'd bought yourself?
Yeah, always bought the magazines. Like they're battered, and it was a case of like, oh, maybe I could fill a gap of. And then as soon as that started, it was like the old hoarder in me came back and was like...
You was off and running.
Yeah, and then just looking at them like... For me, the magazines are about the riding photo. Like, the bikes and that do nothing for me. Like, I get it if that's what you're into.
Yeah.
Like, it does nothing for me. That I don't even know what half the parts on my bike are now. Like, I did a bike check for Waddy at Ride On, and it was terrible. I don't know what it all was. But yeah, I just love looking at the photos. Like the photos are like, and then obviously from that, getting the older mags and stuff. Now it's just filled in gaps in my knowledge that I know I've like got everything from, official BMX, like early 80s and newspapers, BMX Weekly, right through to new stuff.
Yeah. And what so say have you got American stuff as well? I assume you have, yeah?
Yeah, got everything, European, American, Australian.
So like, what are from someone who didn't live in that time period, what mags do you look at and think like, these are fucking good? Like from the sort of 80s and up, like.
I can see now why like people of like your generation and stuff have such a strong response to go and freestyling and stuff like that, because the photos are just like, they're better than anything now, most of them.
Yeah,
do you know, it's the style and the aesthetics. It's like, it doesn't have to be the maddest trick. It's just how it's shot and things like that. And obviously, so those, and then I don't know. I'm fond of stuff that's not cool. Like there's loads of photos of BMX Plus that I think get massively overlooked because it's BMX Plus. But like,
yeah,
they've had some awesome people that have gone through BMX Plus and then gone on to be ride editors or, you know, done other stuff. And some of the photos there are massively overlooked because the magazine's not as cool as others.
Yeah, the editorial was bad in that though, wasn't it? That's probably.
Oh yeah, definitely. But if you're looking at literally just for photos of rides, there's some crackers. You know, they went to all the same comps that, you know, the rides.
Yeah, the BS comps and that. Yeah,
they're all in there, and there's photos of people that, because they weren't the cool riders or whatever, that's where those people shone. You know, which you now look back on and go, fuck, those people were really rad, but because they weren't the main ones that you associated.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's tons, there's loads of stuff that, like, even some like the Freedoms and some of the old mags there that you just like fill some of the gaps in knowledge and all these. The thing is, like, all those people were at all the events, so you're seeing it from, you know, you've got Kay Cloudberg or whatever shooting photos for Freedom, you've got American Brad McDonald and Mark Losey, you know, they were all, because everyone went to all these events.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you see it from a different angle.
Yeah, I mean, the beauty of me being able to collect them now, and lockdown worked great for it, because imagine me now messaging you and saying, do you mind going in your loft? You'd be like, no, piss off, I'm busy. Lockdown, everybody was at home.
Oh,
so,
okay.
do you mind going into your loft? And they were like, yeah, fine. So I got hundreds of mags from people that were just eager to give them away or make space, or, you know, bought some or whatnot. And again, the beauty of it is now, with there not being as many mags that are still released, I got all these mags that were in an era before me, and it was like getting them fresh when I was a kid again. You know, they're just in a letterbox, and I'm like, all this stuff that I didn't know anything about is all fresh to me. And
I find, because I wasn't in that first era, and I find, like, for me, them newspapers and them early, like, BMX action bikes and BMX weeklies, you could really, like, learn where stuff came from, like the next step came from. You know, when you look at them, you're like, oh, so that's why this happened next. And you can really, like, there's a lot to learn from them things, which I think a lot of people don't realise. Like,
and the locations, you know, like,
you can tell where the scenes come from. Yeah.
You know, it's weird. You know, there was a whole era where obviously Ride was based down in Dorset, and a lot of the southern riders got coverage, but then none of the north did. But then if you look at BMX Weekly in that, it was based in Lancaster. So
that's it.
Like of that era that got it. And then, you know, there's everything in between, really. But like even the European stuff, like, you know, there's people that think that certain stuff was like pioneered by the Americans. There's so much stuff that got done in Europe at Europe comps and UK comps that people, obviously it wasn't the internet, so they didn't know all the stuff that had been done at the same time. But I guess it's like seeing it all fresh for me, and it's keeping riding quite fresh.
Yeah,
because I'm getting inspired by stuff that is from the 80s.
Could you see, like one of the things I like about that stuff is when it first started, and it was like real early, like the newspapers, you could see people just thrashing about on jumps, and then like it got to like the mid 80s, and it kind of became really like sterile, and there was just like people just standing in one place on a bike, like it was just like really weird with like a full white race suit on. It's like, what happened? Like, he's fucking weird. Yeah, I find that strange.
Like you said, they're full of photos of like kids that have just chucked on anything and gone down the racetrack, and they're just covered.
That's it.
Yeah. They're like portraits frozen in time, almost, of just like
people didn't know what it should look like.
Yeah, it's quite innocent. It's good.
Yeah, it's good, man. I love looking at that shit.
The fact that it's actual newspapers, like, how awesome's that? Like BMX on a newspaper.
Weekly as well, not bi-monthly, weekly. Like,
well, I spoke to the guy that produced them at that Hall of Fame thing, and I was just like, how did you pull that off, really? You know, imagine how much you'd have to have done, you know, to even if you were chatting shit, like to pack it out.
Well, what did he say? I bet he couldn't even remember, right?
He was just saying that literally, like, it was all go. You know, there was stuff happening everywhere. And I mean, even in our area, you know, you had like Lancaster, Morecambe, the Lake District, Crewe, Coppell, you know, Wigan, Allens, you know, like this whole area of racing that was going off. And that was just in the north and northwest because it was like everywhere.
Yeah, it was in a big boom period, I suppose. So it was more going on, but
from the race side of things, it was. And like you say, obviously, some of it they included just kids like you said, kids just throwing themselves off stuff. Like that's timeless, isn't it?
Yeah,
you can all relate to that, even if you started in this era. Like,
totally, yeah.
But you've got to start by launching yourself off something. It's you could learn every trick going and still look back on that first time more fondly.
Yeah, and you realise, like, when them looking at them photos, you're just like, oh, that's why we do it.
Yeah,
like that's more relevant to why we do it than some of the shit that's fucking on the cover now. You know, like
it's kept it fresh for me.
Yeah,
definitely. Like getting these mags, it keeps it fresh for me and fresh ideas and like relating something I do and mixing it up with that because most of it's been done before.
Yeah, totally.
That's the thing that you realise when you're looking at this stuff. You think stuff's like pioneered in 2000s. It's all been done.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can add another one to it, in or out of it, but it's all been done.
Yeah, it just looked slightly different back then, yeah.
The problem you've got now is a lot of these tricks that are like multiple spins and whips, you can't get a photo of them.
Yeah, well, they don't look good even in video.
It wouldn't be an iconic photo, would it?
No, not at all.
If you get someone doing a can look back or, a table or something like that, or a massive fakie, it's like, stands out so much more. That's the thing that I think is different.
Well, there's a style to a can look back and a table, isn't there? Like simple tricks. What do you like? For me, people just spinning around endlessly is like it's completely emotionless and it doesn't look any good. Like it just does not look any good to me. Like you're just wanging that bike round as many times as you can or yourself, and then just and just like it doesn't. It just looks chaos. There's no feeling to it. There's no emotion to it. It's just like, I did an extra one than whatever someone else did, and I'm like, man, come on.
Is it easier to add another one in and out, like rather than being creative? I don't know. The thing is, if you grow up where
it's a claim, isn't it? I think it's just a claim. I've done whatever. I've done 7. Nobody's done 7 before. It's like, but was it worth doing 7? Does it look like anyone else wants to do 7? Maybe the other guy who's going to do 9 after you wants to do 9, but like it just, oh man, I don't understand it. I get why people want to be looked at, but like whatever.
Has it had its place always? Has there always been an element of it, you think? I don't know.
Yeah, but I think, for me, a 360 looks better than a 720 and a 540 looks better than a 900.
Yeah, but a 900 is a spectacle, innit? And
don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that they're not harder, but like if I look at
another one, is it? Yeah, another one. If you're think the difference is, I think between like if you're looking at it from the outside point of view, like we're talking YouTube and things like that now. Like Nitro Circus and all that. Where there's it's new.
The Ramshaw special as well. It's like, man, yeah.
I know, but if you're a rider in it, like you're aware of everything that's. I mean, that's the beauty of it now. There's so much. You don't. So if you're into that. Like, there's definitely a shame that people don't ride everything. I find that really disappointing that people don't ride everything. They literally hone in on one thing. Like, you could get someone that could do, like you said, 5 tail whips, but you never see them go to trails or ride street or whatever. Like that for me, when I was growing up, like I said, we went everywhere and we would go to the local skate park and, do you want to ride our trails? Yeah, that's sick. And then do you want to go and ride, let's go and ride street in this area while we're here. It was just a whole thing that you didn't even think twice of, I'm not going to do that. I'm only a skate park rider. You just rode everything.
Yeah.
I find that element of it disappointing because there's so much to be had by being a well-rounded rider. I mean, if you look back at the most revered riders ever, they rode everything.
Yeah, well, it was just riding at one point, wasn't it?
Yeah, true.
It wasn't like, oh, we're going to go and ride this. It was just like, we're just going riding, which I can see how that's happened. But like, yeah,
that's true. Yeah. But then look at someone like Dennis Henderson. He can ride anything. That's why he's a lot of riders' favourite rider.
Yeah.
Again, he was probably the closest to what you're saying is just a rider. You put him in front of anything, and he's as good. He's better than anybody.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of people that are like that sort of level, though, aren't there? But for the most part, like
there's not many.
No, not many. No. I'm thinking like 10 or something. You know, like that's it.
Whereas there used to be, everyone was on a fairly high pedestal because they tried everything.
I think for a lot of it, people have been spoiled with what they've got now, so that's why you can pick one thing and go and ride it within 10-minute ride of your house. You know.
Yeah, but is that not what people craved in the 80s, to have somewhere to ride? So you can't
exactly that. But they had to travel miles, or they had to do what they was, you know, or they had to make use of a flat piece of ground that was near their house. Like, hence why people did it. You know.
You can't win though, because if you moan,
no, you can't. No, yeah. There's no winning. Yeah, there's only losing.
Oh, not so.
But yeah, so what about this new venture that you have dabbled in, talking about magazines and stuff?
Me and Nick's venture.
Yeah.
Well, basically, we want to. There's no point having this hoard just sitting here in a corner of a cleaning supplies business in Chester. So we'd love to like do a project where we get some of these things up online. You know, it's not new. There's people, you know, have scanned the magazines in before, but like just put a spin on it and put like almost database it so you can like search by text and whatnot. Because, you know, it'd be sick, you know, like if we're gonna. A couple of reasons why I get messages all the time, people saying, "Oh, have you ever got this photo of me?" Because people are stoked, you know, like, "Oh, I had a photo once in this. Have you got it?" And I'm really stoked about that, because hopefully that'll get them back out on their bikes if someone stopped riding.
Yeah,
that's the main thing. If you can get people back riding, that'll be awesome. But then also, like, people that are mad into the bikes are into it. You know, they want a spec of building the bike that they want or whatever. And also just to let like the newer riders see what came before. Like I'm saying to you, like all this stuff's been done before and it's inspiring. Like they're not going to collect the magazines, are they?
Yeah, they're not going to see it.
Show what's come before in their own time without like pushing it down their neck. Hopefully it'll inspire like, you know, originality.
So what you're actually doing is you're creating a database of magazines online, old magazines.
Old, new, everything in between.
Old, new, everything. What?
Everything.
So what Nick said, he said you've been slacking on the scanning though.
Yeah.
I'm only joking.
No, he's 100% right. Nick's goal. If it weren't for Nick, none of it would come off. But like,
so
it's a passion project. Like it literally is a passion project. And like we have busy lives, you know. So we might do a crowdfund or something to try and maybe like just get the momentum going. You know, like I've got a magazine scanner that basically you can scan a mag fairly quickly, and then obviously you can digitize it and it can search for the text. So you could search by keywords. So, if you wanted to search for ROM, you could do that or whatnot. And just get this stuff archived. Like, it deserves it, is how I feel.
Damn right, yeah.
It deserves it. And, I'm not, my emphasis is on the UK to start with, because I think that it warrants it. And there's a lot of people that have put, a lot of the American magazines that we said earlier, Go, Freestyle, that are like held in high regard. But there's so much stuff that was done in the UK and still done in the UK that, is massively influential. So that's basically what we want to do. We want to digitize it. It's been started, we want to get momentum behind it to try and get it done and make it thorough.
Yeah,
I think it's important. If nothing else, if nothing else, just to archive what's come before, because it's awesome, basically.
Yeah. What have you got a launch date for this, or what's the story? What's it called as well?
Well,
we're not getting to that bit, no.
We'll get to that.
Right.
But no, we're basically putting it out there so as a kick up the arse to get it moving. We've done some, but we haven't done enough. But that's not to say that we're going to launch it and maybe just build on it, just so we've got something there to
work in
build.
Progress.
Yeah, but like you're going back to saying earlier, like the newspaper era or official BMX, right through to, newer mags like people, like Albions and Endless and stuff like that. I'm not just looking at that old school. You need that scope to draw people in and get people psyched. So,
well, they're the ones that less people are going to have seen as well, I guess.
Yeah,
the old ones, because Albion wasn't that long ago, and Endless is kind of still about, but. Yeah.
No, do you know what I mean? If you're going to put
yeah. You want to go up there eventually, yeah.
I'm not going to just like hoard the old bikes, like that only has scope. Like if you put the full scope of it.
Yeah. But you get there eventually, didn't you?
Yeah, but like Nick says, I'm slacking.
Yeah, it's like Hall of Fame. You get there eventually.
Coming soon.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll leave that one there then. And what about the Hall of Fame? I saw that you quite enjoyed that recently.
Yeah, I was surprised. Like I was quite surprised. I think it definitely needs, on the freestyle side of things, it needs more support. But I think they've got the heart in the right place. It's all well and good. Like Waddy was involved. Like Waddy was the main reason. I'm like, right. If Waddy's putting his hand in and putting his time in, like I didn't do anywhere near as much as Waddy, but like. Just took the magazines down there and just got people stoked with it. But the freestyle side of things it'd be great to get more support, even just as a catch up. I think going back to what I just said there about archiving the magazines, freestyle isn't really, never has been, pat on the back style like racing has. They've got, racing. You might place down to 10th and get a trophy, and at the end of the year the clubs have Christmas gatherings and stuff like that. Freestyle, it's not like that. I get it.
Yeah.
But certain people that have given what they've given deserve respect. They deserve not even an accolade, just an appreciation. I think that's fair. They might not want it, but I think certain people deserve appreciation for what they've done for the UK scene and for BMX in general, really. Much more than people give them credit for, because you see, the main guys in America, but like there's some people that have pioneered a lot of stuff over here, as you well know.
Fuck yeah, fucking damn right.
What's wrong with giving the occasional nod of appreciation? That's the way I.
Why do you think it's not that popular then amongst freestyle? Do you think they're just not reaching freestylers, or what? How many people were there this year?
They're not loads, but they're not freestylers. They make no bones about it. They're not freestylers. They don't know it. You can only do so much for something that you don't know about. And they're not making out that they do. Hence why they're asking people to get involved. It's tricky. It's a sit down dinner. It's not what you necessarily associate with freestyle. But like people of an age now will, they don't want to go and hang around in like a swamp fest style after party. Do you know what I mean? So it's like.
I think something in the middle could work better though. Like that seems, it seems from me, from the outside looking in, it's like, it's a pretty weird setup for me to want to see, like it seems like if they had more of a like interactive, like you was there this time with the magazines and like something a bit more like that people can go and have a look at stuff and like, it's a bit stiff. Like the award ceremony just looks like a bit TV show-esque, The
problem you've got is, given where we're at currently, like climate-wise, who's going to do it? Who's going to there isn't...
Yeah. No, it needs... Yeah.
It's like...
But that looks more expensive doing what they've got there. That looks pricey.
Possibly, but at the same time, they're trying to deliver it to people that want something that suits that age group. Are you with me? Like... I'm not saying it necessarily has to be a 3-course dinner, but like it's got to be of a certain standard for you to warrant going.
I just think that looks like
if I had like a ramp or like you said,
not a ramp. I think a ramp wouldn't work, but like something a bit like
an art exhibition or something.
Something that would talk to the people that they can't get in there, because it seems like they can get the racers, but not the. Yeah,
because they know the races, and the races is...
Yeah, that's right. It's what you're saying.
once a year, the race club would have a meet where they say, you know,
yeah. It's a community, isn't it?
It's different. They're two totally different things, and I get that. It'd just be nice to find a middle ground where we can respect the people that have done what they've done in freestyle. Really, I think it's a work in progress, and I think if we can just get people to get involved with it, whether it means tweaking it or means it doesn't work at all, do you know what I mean? And something else has to be created. But I think until you give it a try, because it hasn't got presence from us currently.
Yeah,
there wasn't enough.
It needs impact from. It needs impact from like some of the people that kind of know, you know, like and they've got a few of them now. So, but it just does look a bit like it looks unstructured to me. I'm like, I don't really know what the freestyle was doing. But like you say, it's new and it's just getting them people involved. So
if you understand
what happens.
I don't understand how racing works, but I can see, like speaking to Waddy, that obviously races as well. Like that's how the racing side of things works.
Yeah, but racing's so structured that would work for racing.
Yeah,
I think it can work. I think it can work. It's just going to take time to.
I think it will take time
to get it going and get it correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the only way to do that is from the front. Really, that's the way I see it. I'm not massively involved. It was just a case of, like I said to you earlier, I've got these magazines sitting here. How awesome would it be? Like I went there and people were stoked.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. How many people flicked through their mags?
Not as many as they should have done, but people were
really?
stoked.
Yeah. I thought it'd be a lot.
Yeah, some and the people that were really good. You know, they were behind.
Well, that's what you want.
These stories, and they were filling gaps in for me, and they were calling friends over and being like, "Oh yeah, do you remember this?" And you know, like I said, like if people go away and get out their bike again and ride, at whatever age they are, fantastic. Like well worth trudging this bloody bookcase down this flight of stairs. Like, you know, well worth it.
That's what you want, isn't it? You want, even if it ain't a lot of people, if the people that go, they suck it up and really enjoy it, like that's what you want. That's the goal, isn't it?
And like you said earlier, there's more pump tracks and skate parks than ever. So there's no excuse.
Yeah.
There's no excuse. If you want to get back out and do it and you haven't done it for years, do it. If you're into it now and you know your attention span's waning, well, get back inspired, get back out and ride, you know. Yeah.
Like, so you're going again next year? You're going?
I think so. Yeah, I just want to try and drum up and get more of a freestyle side to it and more of a buzz on the freestyle side of things. Really.
Yeah.
It just needs more. It needs momentum. It can't just come up and be like, "Oh, why didn't you come?" Like,
yeah, you got to build it. Yeah.
Entice people. You've got to entice people in and be like, "Why should I come?"
Yeah.
I would love to go there and hang out with more freestylers, like more people that I know don't get to see very often. You know, if nothing else, I'd be stoked on that, and just have conversations with people. Like there was people there that I know that obviously, you know, crossed over between the two. Like Chico was there, Martin Murray was there. You know, like there was a few people, you know, that were synonymous with racing, but I knew them from time. So
from riding,
from riding, just riding full stop, like you said earlier. They were just riders. They rode everything. So fingers crossed. Like you say, I think it can only grow or adapt and adjust. And if it's not to be, it's not to be, and someone else needs to come. But we've got to try because it's already established and someone's
stuck their neck out already.
Someone's putting the money. You know, they're putting the money out there. You know, it's not. They're not making money. They're just
no. You can tell. That's why I asked how many people were there because I'm thinking that's expensive, that space. So
it is. So, you know, as much as it might not be ticking the freestyle box, props to them for going and doing it. You know, that's the way I see it.
Yeah,
they're doing it, and I don't think that, you know, they're doing it with anything other than, like, you know, the best of intentions. Really, obviously the racing side of things, they're always going to tick that box because they're racers. They're well-established, world-known racers. So we just need to have some people that will obviously just
it's going to take a little bit to build. That's all. I think as long as you get it right, keep going and getting it correct, it's going to build, and that's what will happen. So,
and as long as you've got the right people putting that input in and they're willing to listen, then
that's right. If you ain't got the right people, it won't build. It will just flop. But yeah.
To get involved.
Yeah. Let's see what happens.
Not you, generally.
Yeah.
People get involved. Put your, stick your oar in. Give your opinion.
Yeah, man. Well, yeah. I'm going to keep my eye on it, see how it goes. But I quite like what Daryl's doing anyway. Like, I think it's cool. And then the other thing I want to talk about is that recent video that you had, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I was chuffed on that. Highs and lows, like literally, I did that a few weeks ago and then smashed my face in 2 weeks ago. So it's classic highs and lows of BMX. So
what you smashed your face in after it?
Yeah, last week before Christmas, classic over the handlebars, broke my teeth, everything.
Fuck's sake.
Yeah, that was it. Like literally did like move I wanted to do for ages, and then classic like taken out doing a Boneyard. But yeah, that edit came about. Just been friends with Ant and them for a long time, and we've speaking about doing the open loop, because when I did the full loop, they came up from Essex.
Oh, okay.
To work, with the plans of doing it and whatnot, and then they didn't that day, but they ended up taking it back down to Essex and doing it themselves.
All right.
So, yeah, conversations about doing the open loop just back and forth, and I was meant to build it up here and it never came off, and then they just messaged saying, "Oh, we've built this," so it was like, right, it's on.
So how long did you like ride that day before you tried that loop?
All day,
because you filmed that all in one day.
Yeah, I left my house.
Whole day.
I left mine at 4 a.m. and got to Essex at 9, and then rode and filmed that edit, and then at like 6 o'clock put that in, and then we started working on doing that, and then did it, and then classic like adrenaline. I was like, I was going to stay over, and I was like, I just drive back now. I was just beaming building. So I just got back home to like one day, back to work.
Fuck. That came out good, man. I enjoyed that. Like, I like the variation on a lot of the moves you did in that video. Like, I hadn't seen a few for a few years.
But that people have said more than the open loop, really. But that's the stuff I like to do. Just don't have the opportunity to put it on an edit or whatever. Like if you come to skatepark, that's the kind of stuff I've always liked to do.
Yeah, you don't hardly see it to be like you hardly see any just mini ramp footage anymore as well. So it was like it really stuck out as something different, But how long did that loop take
to do?
Yeah,
probably
how many tries?
Probably about 8 or 9. We had the mats, about 8 or 9 into the mats, and then the two that you saw were when we pulled the mats away.
Oh, all right.
So like one bail, and then like just go.
What happened on that first one?
Although it's a flip, you do not pull at all. If you pull, that's what happens. So you literally do
rotate.
Like the first one I did, I pulled into the mats and did a double, pretty much like 1.5, like without even trying. So that it's like we said, it was like the opposite. You have to like almost unlearn flips. So instead of pulling, you can see you like compress and then pump the top and pump back.
Okay.
But you can see that as soon as you take off, if you imagine where you take off, you can see where you're landing very, very quickly because you've done the flip. As soon as you go past, you can see. Oh,
yeah, because of course, yeah, okay.
On the clock, it's like, before you know it, you can see where you're going. And we were getting more hurt on the mats than I thought we would without the mats out of the way because we were just stopping and slamming.
Oh, okay.
It was better off. We were getting more hurt, like me and Calvin that were doing it. We were getting more hurt on the mats. So like, just take them out of the way.
But where were the mats then? On the floor or up the tranny?
Yeah, we put them like on the transition. They were the ones that I got them at a D-side skate park. So the skate park in the pandemic got pulled down by JCB to make it into a hospital.
Oh yeah, I remember the story. Yeah.
And they were putting them in the bin. So I went down there and just put them all in the van.
If you made it in a hospital they didn't use or something, yeah?
No
one of them ones.
No one went in there.
Oh,
destroyed the skate park with the JCB in a day.
I know. I saw it on the web, on the internet.
I couldn't get any of the wood. It went away in 10 ginormous skips, never to be seen again.
Fuck's sake.
But yeah, those mats went down with the full loop to them, and then we just used them for that.
Fucking hell.
But I would say that felt harder than the full pipe, the full loop, the open loop. It was.
Oh yeah.
It was harder to work out. It took longer to work out than the other one. The other one was just
hang
more
on.
bravery.
Look where you're going and hang on. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to go. So.
And what was that loop? How many times did you crash that?
The loop.
Yeah.
Took 4 or 5 goes with the mats, and then I had one good spank doing it properly. And then that got easier. It's like the more you did it, the more you could see. The first time was blind. Like the first time you do a flip, you can't see anything. And then the more you could do it, you could spot the ramp.
You knew where you was going. Okay.
Yeah. The key to the full pipe was going slower than you think. You think you've got to go fast, and that's what'll bugger you. You end up
it absorbs you.
Yeah.
It crumples you in. Yeah. That's what I think.
You just pump the momentum round. Yeah, I don't know. They were just ones that I would love. I always wanted to do, and I was never going to have. There's no budget behind me doing it. So
yeah, of course. Yeah.
Full pipe was just built in the yard at work in lockdown. We just built it in the car park at the business.
Do you know what the transition of that one of them quarter pipes would be? It looked quite tight.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't, no?
No.
Was it 8 foot or something? I guess.
It was like 14 foot tall. It was exactly the same. We got the plans.
It's 7. Yeah, so 7 foot tranny. Yeah.
Exactly the same one as Danny McGaskill did.
Okay.
In that toy box thing they did. We got the plans.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, right. It's like that. Exactly the same. But yeah, it was gnarly building it because I've never built a ramp that goes off. So you were putting it in all the beams are on a 45. So you're building sections.
Oh yeah, of course. You can't really even see that in the video properly. Yeah.
It's weird because you've obviously got to set all the beams, I think, at 2 degrees so it matches back up. That was the hardest bit. Was me. You had to pull the thing together when we built it. You had to drill it to the floor because it was trying to pull apart.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Them two were the ones I wanted to do.
That's good. Job done, mate.
That ramp in Essex was.
Yeah, it was good. Fucking good job on the video, man. I liked it.
Dream ramp. Cool, yeah, thanks to that.
Nice. All right, man. All right, we're good. If you're good with that, we're good. That was fucking cool, man.
Absolute privilege to be invited on. Nice one.
Thanks, man.
Hello. Right. So we've just got a Patreon page. We've been doing this show for nearly 2 years, and it will remain free, and it has always been free. But if you want to become a supporter or send something our way, go to our Patreon page. I think there's 4 tiers. There's a lot of benefits to most of the tiers. Thanks for your support and thanks for listening. We're going to try and do more of these if we can get the right amount of funding back in. So if you can support, please do. Thanks. See ya.